Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. This is episode 169 of the show. I am
It's
Peter.
almost 619.
That's not how math works.
Yes, it is. The same numbers, it's almost the same.
No. There's a good few hundred before we get to 619.
Yeah, 169, and you just transpose them at 619, and then Rey Mysterio kicks you in the head.
I'm pretty sure we'll have been doing the show for over 10 years by the time we get to 619, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. I'm Peter Mass here.
Yeah.
There he is.
As evidenced by the terrible math skills.
Connor, do you know what 619 is?
Not a clue, no.
Okay.
If
we're in person, I would demonstrate it on you.
I feel like I don't want to.
I would love to see Matt try a 619. I think there'd be some comedy gold in that visual.
Specifically try it on me, or just him try it in general?
Just him try it in general. Let's just say this is something for more of dexterous. Is that a word?
A little bit athletic.
Walter, the massive Austrian man, did one earlier this week. I'm pretty sure I could get one.
I don't think you've got the mobility for it, Matt. I'm just going to say.
Okay, I'm going to practice. I think that's over wrestling in the backyard now. This will be a tough sell to the wife, but she'll understand.
What do you even practice on? You need, like, ropes to do it.
Yeah. You gotta have the balance. It's fine. I grew up watching Rey Mysterio. It's fine.
We're talking about DC Comics on this show. Coming up on this week's show, we have a light sparring of books. We got Batman 77, we got Aquaman 51, Jimmy Olsen issue 2, Black Mask, You're the Villain issue 1. Those are coming up on the show. Plus, Connor's got some Patreon punishment issues, I think.
Yes.
You
do.
Did you do both of them? I didn't read mine this week. I'll do mine next week.
Yeah.
You're a terrible person.
Yes, you are. Not on the week where there's 4 books. You instead you did it when next week there's like 12. Good job, Pete.
First of all, there's like 8 next week, not 12. Secondly,
this only maintains my terrible.
There was like a good 20 minutes where we were waiting for Matt where you could have read it.
I didn't know it was going to be that long though. I didn't know it was going to be 20 minutes.
Hey, I was introducing my mother-in-law to Killswitch Engage. All right, and I put my phone down and I didn't look.
Also, 20 minutes my ass. It's a comic from the 60s. I need at least 35 minutes for that bad boy.
Oh, come on.
Oh my God! You want to talk about old comics real quick?
I think
I've been reading Tales of the Tales of the New Teen Titans. Whew. Now I understand why people thought comics were just for kids.
I thought Matt was going to crack a joke there and say someone
No.
like Richard Pryor.
I am not looking forward to the Starfire issue. I'll tell you that much. That Beast Boy one was rough.
Interesting. I forgot.
Y'all read that one?
I think I got to individual issues of the characters.
Yeah.
I go back to it. I was enjoying the main story though.
Well, maybe it's just because they're one shots that they're dealing with the origin, but yeah, they are hooey.
Okay.
And we always joke about the Teen Titans having older than teenagers in there. That's been a problem since the beginning. Because, like, Cyborg at this point in his 20s, Beast Boy's got to be in his 20s. You know, I haven't got to Starfire yet. I think Raven's a teenager, but yeah. Connor, you read these, right?
No.
Oh, shoot. I thought you did. Ooh, boy.
Oh, well. What can one do?
I was going to say maybe I will, but you're not helping.
No. I mean, I picked him up originally because I wanted to read Starfire's origin. And I was like, well, I can't just read issue 4 and not 1, 2, and 3. And I probably should have. Yeah, probably should have.
Yeah, I liked what I read in New Teen Titans, but
yeah, June's contract was pretty good. Like that's aged well.
Yeah, I mean, even the start of it, like I read the first, I don't know, trades worth, I guess. It was good. Definitely a bit dated in it, the way it was a bit overwritten. Like I feel like sometimes when I'm reading old comics, I kind of have to just stop bothering with the extra narration boxes that are almost useless because they don't really offer any information that's not in the panel already. That's my biggest pet peeve with the old comics is they always have to describe everything that's going on in the panel. I see it. The art is there. I can see what's happening.
Well, especially when you have Marv Wolfman on art, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, art's gotten a lot more sophisticated, in the last few decades, and they've learned to just trust the artist to tell some of the story and not have to, so and so moves out the way and just barely dodges a thing.
Yeah.
Show don't tell. Show don't tell. Simple.
Yep.
Simple
Speaking
philosophy.
of show don't tell, we got news, Pete.
We do have some news. Before we get to the news, though, we have everyone's favorite segment of the month.
I was trying to move past this.
Yeah. Either way, that could have come after the news. You could have gone with the segue.
Sales figures.
No, he's got to throw up a speed bump. We're trying to have a race, and Pete's like, "Hey, watch this." And like Mixie Pidlick conjures a speed bump.
We're going to talk about sales figures.
No, that's not true. You're going to talk about sales figures. Me and Matt are going to sit here.
I'll get something at you. Okay, I'm going to give you a clue here. Number 1 and 2 for the month of July 2019 are both related to each other. They're both number 1s.
I'm going to guess they're House of X and Powers of X.
You're correct. You're even in the right order. House of X was number 1, Powers of X was number 2 with 185.
Let me guess, House of X came out first.
Yes, by 1 week.
Because that was also the big number 1. That was Hickman on X-Men, and they probably ordered a hell of a lot more than those.
Yeah,
so makes sense.
House of X did 185,000, Powers of X did 167,000, so they sold a lot of copies. Number 3 is Amazing Spider-Man, number 25. Number 4 is The Walking Dead, number 193, which was the final issue.
Right, makes sense.
I feel like in some other months that would have topped it.
Yeah, very possibly. That said,
though, it also
admittedly, they didn't know it was the final issue.
They didn't know it was the last issue. Yeah. I mean, they had to have known enough because I think since doing the show, this is the first time, well, since Pete's been forcing sales figures upon us anyways, that it's been in the top. So
yeah, although to be fair, Amazing Spider-Man issue 25 is not exactly. I mean, maybe they did something special for 25, but it's not exactly a huge issue on its own,
I think
right?
it was a bigger issue.
Yeah,
like it was like a big
anniversary sized.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. It was $8 actually. Now that I'm looking at the price. Worth mentioning, both of those X-Men books were $6 each. Just for the record there. So yeah, first 4, no sign on DC, but then we have a DC trifecta. In fact, we have a Batman trifecta. Last Night on Earth number 2 was at number 5 with 105,000 copies. Number 6 is Batman Curse of the White Knight issue 1 with 91,000 copies. And then number 7 is Batman Who Laughs number 7 with 88,000 copies. So Batman trifecta, although notably not Tom King's Batman.
I was just going to say that is notably absent, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And then you have Black Cat number 2 at number 8 with
I smell shenanigans.
Yeah, well, you had a ton of those variant covers. We went over that last time, so I'm sure.
Or maybe this is one of the ones that Marvel just overshipped. Went, here, have some extra copies.
Number 9 is Immortal Hulk number 20 with 83,000 copies. I mean, I like that book, so I can't really complain too much.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one being that.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 10 is Batman 74 with 78,000. Number 75 came in at 13 with 70,000. What's interesting actually about DC books is the fact that they've actually counted the cardstock variants as separate entries on this list. They're not combined. And
so if you add them up,
well, here's the interesting one, because most of them, the cardstock variant is quite low down. Like, it'll be like, let's say Detective does its usual 40,000, then there's another 10,000 of the cardstock variant, like way down at past 100 somewhere. The one notable exception to that is Deceased, because Deceased number 3 comes in at number 14 with 68,000. The cardstock variant for Deceased number 3 comes in at number 16 with another 63,000. So that almost doubles its number.
That comfortably puts it in the top.
What was the cardstock?
That puts it number 3. That puts it comfortably at number 3.
What number of Deceased was that?
Number 3.
That's
Some
crazy.
research. So Deceased is notably actually really high up if you count the variant. Which
because normally you would.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the cardstock. I guess it's because of a different price, because it's $5 instead of $4. I think that's why they have to count it separately.
I don't understand why that one would be, because that was the really lame nun Superman cover.
Yeah, but if people are collecting the movie covers anyway, Matt, and they want to feel set, then
because DC with their standard variants will send half and half to most stores.
Right.
So stores.
But this is the cardstock. Well, wait a minute. I just clicked on it now, and it gave me a different cover. So yeah, it's the Wonder Woman zombie cover.
There
that was the cardstock. So that makes more sense.
Yeah. So it's nice to see DC's doing well. As far as all DC stuff looking here, Detective Comics comes in. Well, it's actually better than 40,000. What I said. 56,000 on issue 1007. What's the next one though? There was 2 issues, right?
Should have been. This is where Control F comes in.
Usually they're really close together though, which is why I'm. Whoa! Why is this so much slowed down? Yeah, well, the second one's at 40,000 at number 45. Why did the first one do so well? Because they've been in the 40,000s recently. Because I remember that's why I guessed that number. Because they've been more or less been around that. Why is 1007 notably higher? Did they have like a big variant that was popular or something?
I don't remember.
That is weird. Okay. Justice League number 22. That's issue 28, 55,000. Yeah, again, that's a bit higher than the other issue. Well, did all the first of the double shippers last month have something special going on? I can't remember. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
The first issue of the double shippers is typically the ones that had the card stock, but they're counting them separately, so...
Maybe they're not counting the double shippers separately. Let me scroll down and see these card stocks. No, Batman's 75 is there, so... That one's definitely counted.
Unless it's the second one that had the card stock variant. So it's the first one
and the second one's split.
50,000. The second one's split.
That makes sense. Okay, we've sussed it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've sussed it out. Excellent. Detective work. Yeah, because you got like Batgirl at number 93 with 23,000. But then you've got kind of 9,000 if you go and find the cardstock version. So it actually goes over 30, which sounds a bit more right.
Yeah.
So no, interesting. Let's see where Superman's at for funds. Number 63 with 34,000, but the cardstock variant. Number 129 with 17,000, so that puts up to what, like 47, 48,000.
Yeah. People need to be buying Superman.
Sounds about right.
Come on, guys. And action. Buy them both.
Yeah, you're upsetting Matt.
Connor.
What's that? You were talking about Superman, so I just kind of tuned out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, I know.
He's saying that's the problem.
That was good timing then, wasn't it?
Oh dear.
All right.
I fairly saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood this week, and there was a great line about a ginger, which really made me laugh. Couldn't help but think of Connor in the moment. So
I will be appropriately insulted.
Yes.
How dare you?
And she's a member of the Manson family as well. Which, what's so funny about that movie is that because I'd just seen the Mindhunter episode with the Manson stuff in it, is that it kind of prepped me for some of the stuff in the movie, because at one point when they go to the ranch where all the Manson family are staying, at one point someone said, "Hey, Tex," and I went, "I know who Tex is! I just watched Mindhunter! I just watched Mindhunter!"
I do have recommended, so if you guys are watching Mindhunter, I gotta get caught up on Mindhunter. I gotta watch season 1. And then to 2, because the guy that plays Manson in Once Upon a Time, they got from Mindhunter. Like, it was, I don't know, as an actor, that's what you want to be. Like, you're so good looking like Charles Manson that you get cast in 2 of the biggest things of 2019.
We spoke about this. I said, make the most of it.
Yeah,
do it for as long as you can, and then go, right, runs over.
Hey, to be fair, he's got like a big beard in Mindhunter, because it's obviously like 1980, so it's later. Whereas what they've done for Once Upon a Time is they just shaved his beard down to stubble, and that's young Manson.
And he's very unsettling, like in Once Upon a Time. But no, if anyone's listening, or even Pete, I don't know if you have time for a lot of podcasts, but there's a really good series from You Must Remember This, Karina Longworth, that she does on the Manson family, and a lot of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, it's a Venn diagram of what was going on in LA at the time and what the Manson family was doing, and they're a perfect piece to go with each other.
I already shilled that podcast out when we did that episode of Mindhunter. It's like, hey, if you want to know more about the story, go check it out. It's great. I think they did their own like a separate feed just for the.
There's a separate feed of it. When I got a hold of it, it was on the same feed, and that's how I found out about the full show. Which
It's really good anyway,
seasons of.
actually.
Oh yeah. The show's really good, but it's a lot of old Hollywood stuff, and but yeah. So it's Pete's like, oh, Tex, I know that name. You get to really know Tex.
Yeah.
Through you must remember this. So check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sales figures though. We can wrap up the sales figures. You'll be delighted to hear.
Would have been more delighted 5 minutes ago.
Shut your face.
So wait, Mindhunter, does the first season take place in the 70s?
Late 70s.
Okay, late 70s.
Yeah, it's like 79 and then season 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
80.
Okay.
We're around like 77 to 82-ish is where we're kind of spanning so far, I think.
Gotcha. I listened to a podcast that talked about Zodiac, and they basically called Mindhunter Zodiac the series. Like they share a lot of similarities.
Kinda, yeah. There's definitely some parallels to.
Which Zodiac's my favorite Fincher movie, which I know is weird, but
The only thing I'll say about Mindhunter, Matt, is that if you're not like loving the first episode, watch episode 2 before you make up your mind.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna. That's most Fincher things. I did that with House of Cards, although I never finished the second season. Like I got to the second season. Never
I really
went back.
like the first season of that where it's all Shakespeare. So
It
was Macbeth, complete with soliloquies.
It's good, but when I watched it, we were right in the middle of this political insanity that is the United States, and I'm just like, I'm getting this in real life. I don't need to watch a TV version,
Yeah.
So, but it's Netflix. It's not going anywhere, right? At least one would think. So.
No, unlikely.
But yeah, but no, I'll get around to Mindhunter. It's next after I think The Boys. I've prioritized it.
Yeah, it's just every scene where they sit down with a killer in the prison and interview them is just gold.
Because Fincher only does the pilot, right? Or
Oh
does he do
no!
Oh, he still
does
has
all
all
of them?
episodes.
I didn't do all of them.
Ooh.
He did like 3 or 4 in season 1. He's done 2 in season 2. So.
Ooh-wee.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter, but I had the realization that I think, to me, I don't know if this counts as a hot take, but I think Fincher's a better director than Tarantino. I think I'm willing to put that out there.
Well, Connor's not going to argue with that. He is Tarantino.
No,
I'm all in on that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's actually Tarantino's scripts I dislike more than his direction. But,
No, I'm just saying as a storyteller, because you
as
look
a
at
storyteller as a whole, sure.
yeah, I look at a lot of Fincher stuff, and I don't know if I relate to it more, if I like it more. Even his stuff that I'm not a big fan of, like Benjamin Button, is entirely watchable versus the stuff that I don't like from Tarantino. I just never want to go, watch it again.
I can't go along with this opinion because there's nothing from Tarantino I don't like, and I definitely like a lot more Tarantino than I do Fincher. Fincher's got some great stuff, but there's definitely stuff from him that I just don't like and never want to see again.
With me, there's similarities because they both take things that they enjoy from film and do their versions of it. So like with Fincher, you'll get like this sequence in a movie that could be a short film. It's like a Social Network. It's that rowing scene, right? Or in Benjamin Button, it's the dancing scene. Her ballet, and it just and Tarantino does that type of stuff too. But I just feel like Tarantino's a little bit more frenetic, and I just when he misses like with Hateful Eight or Jackie Brown, it's a big miss. Versus Fincher, where it's like, oh, I guess Fincher Button's fine, but.
Nah, I will happily take any of those Tarantino movies over Benjamin Button. Happily.
Nah, not me.
Benjamin Button was a painful experience that I never want to revisit. Thank you very much. God, you're stupid.
Did he just say, Connor, you're stupid? Or is that the ghost again?
I mean...
I said that movie's stupid, but I have no problem with you mishearing that as Connor stupid.
Gotcha.
I just know I will likely never watch a Tarantino movie again in my entire life. But I'm okay with it.
But see, here's the thing, though. I feel Tarantino's highs are higher. So, like, I love Inglourious Bastards, and I love Zodiac. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather watch Inglourious Bastards again than Zodiac at any given moment. Zodiac I have to be in the mood for.
Inglourious Bastards I love, but it's mid-tier Tarantino for me.
Oh, not me. It's my favorite. It's at the top.
No, I agree with out of the ones I've seen, that's the one I would say I like the most. And even that, it's like, yeah, it's all right. I never need to see it again.
Right.
Kill Bill.
Hey,
baby.
I have a thread in the group that nobody but James responded to of giving me your top 5 Tarantinos. So if y'all want to go in there,
that's because I hadn't seen Once Upon a Time yet. I I saw
But it's not
movie.
just you, Pete, but there's other people. Huh?
I didn't have anything to add without just being negative, and I thought, well, I'll wait till there's more people for that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No one else showed up. Oh.
Yes. Once Upon a Time didn't crack my top 5 though, so I mean it wouldn't have affected my answer. But I liked the movie, but not top 5.
But see, in that the rules I set though, Kill Bill's one movie.
Yes, I always count Kill Bill as one movie.
Okay, I didn't know because when you said it wouldn't crack your top 5, I thought he's put both Kill Bills in there.
Nah. Kill Bill, Django Unchained, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and then number 5.
Well, if you said Bastards is mid-tier, there you go, because that's 9.
Sure. Well, I wasn't thinking of mid-tier as literally just the middle one, like mid-tier being the middle few.
Well, it's either gotta be 4 or 5, Pete. That's the mid of 10. He's not quite at 10.
No, if four's mid-tier, then so is 6. They're equally middle.
Yeah, he's right.
I guess.
It's either Bastards or Hateful Eight, but I mean, regardless.
Yeah. So
that's how I feel on the Tarantinos. Yes, but
news.
Yes, news. I got news to talk about. We have some unfortunate news. Kind of the something we feared based on the solicits last week has been confirmed, and it's a damn shame. G. Willow Wilson is exiting Wonder Woman officially, and Steve Orlando is taking over. And her last issue, at least solicited, is 81. Given that Orlando's arc that he started though in the October solicits takes him up to like January or February, that means that's just probably it. Like, because she says she's done by the end of the year. So,
yep.
That means her run was 58 through 81, barring one Orlando fill-in issue. So, it's certainly not as huge as I would have liked. I was hoping for a nice long run out of her, but.
And I was just putting her over to people at my comic book store. I was like, it's very reminiscent of the stuff that I love from the Rocha run, but it's done very much in Wilson's voice, and she's doing fun stuff with Wonder Woman. And then 2 days later, this news drops.
Here's Orlando.
And again, I feel like people could construe this as we have an axe to grind against Orlando, and I don't feel we do. This is not like the author that we don't like to talk about.
It's just really
so
mediocre.
far. Yeah, out of Orlando, when we have how many books coming out in November and October, if I have to drop an Orlando Wonder Woman,
it's an easy choice.
Like,
it's an easy choice to just drop it because there's so many books starting in October that that's 2 Wonder Woman issues. Yeah. Well, not
between,
2. The first one's still
September and November, like between those 3 months. There's probably a good 10 or 15 books starting.
Right.
Between the horror comics. And everything else, there's a lot.
Yeah, so honestly, I mean, so on the upside, this is almost like an easy drop, so it's almost good news in a way, because it's like, well, that makes some room for a couple of things. But...
And I never thought I'd get to that point reading comics where I'm like, oh, good, something I can drop. But we're in such a good place for comics right now, where like I'm reading more Marvel than I have in times, and so that takes up spots, and I just got caught up on Thor. Because, DC is priority. So, and I still have those 2 issues of Valkyrie to read. So, without having to read a Wonder Woman, even if I don't fill it with a DC book, that's something else there.
I'm pretty sure with all those books starting, you'll definitely be filling with a DC book. Something out of those 15 new number ones that are going to tickle your fancy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Basket Full of Heads, definitely. It's a Viking Axe.
There's Harley and Ivy by Hauser.
Yeah. But that's a mini, so...
Well, to be fair, a lot of those like number ones we're talking about are minis. Like very few of them are actually ongoings, which is nice.
But I am kind of at the point now where I'm expecting, because they're announcing, hey, here's a mini. I feel like by the time these minis are ending, we'll have more starting up.
Probably. I mean, it does mean there'll be a lot more rotation though, because it feels like they're not announcing as many ongoings as they used to, which isn't a bad thing.
This is what I've wanted them to do forever. So we talked. I feel like I talk about this every week now. So where you do have seasons of it, so you can rotate.
Yeah,
and it's not constantly ongoing.
It's the Dark Horse model.
Yeah.
Where they do it with here's another mini and then another mini series, and they're all sequels. Yeah,
and they're all not quite standalone. But if you read this in order, you're getting a little bit more out of it than just starting there.
Well, I mean, I think the example right now is White Knight, where that was a mini and then it's got a sequel. So, I mean, he's already talking about doing a third one.
Yeah.
So, by the time it's all done, it'll be more like a 25 issue book.
Yeah, like I know Murphy he's launched or is launching a Kickstarter for a book soon. He's done like 2 previous Kickstarters already, I think. And he basically said, my plan is one book for Marvel/DC. One book for himself, and just alternate back and forth so he doesn't get burnt out.
We've heard about that in movies forever. The one for them, one for me model of directing. So it makes sense. It's coming to comics.
So just to add on here, part of the reason for this is she says that she's got a bucket list dream project that she's getting, and that's why she's dropping Wonder Woman. Maybe that's at DC, maybe it's at Marvel, maybe it's something else.
If it's a JSA book, I'm okay with this.
Honestly, given it's a bucket list item, I would say it is DC or Marvel, because that doesn't sound like something she's just getting to do elsewhere.
Has she ever done teen books?
Not to my knowledge.
So that'd be fun to see how she would play that off.
Oh, obviously, being a DC podcast, we're hoping it's a DC book, but...
yeah. Well, my brain immediately went to Starfire, but that's just me.
That's your dream book.
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, maybe it is our bucket list item, but it doesn't seem big enough to me to be like, I want to drop Wonder Woman for it,
But it just from what I've heard, I haven't read her Ms. Marvel, I feel that's what.
I know we're all hoping for Taylor, but I mean, what if she's getting Batman? Yeah. Batman needs a new writer soon.
Yeah,
that's bucket list worthy.
It is. My only thing is that's ending in such a short amount of time, relatively speaking, to comics, and how far ahead they solicit. I feel they've got that locked in already, and have had that locked in for a little while now. Probably since they announced that, he's coming off and he's doing this other book.
Well, she may have been locked in this other book for a while as well. This might just be like after working on the first few issues of whatever she's doing, she's like, I need time for this. I can't do.
It's possible.
Yeah. Well, that would explain, and that would also, if you try to match the, we're getting conspiracy theory here, but if you match up the delay where Orlando came in and told his story. You know what I mean? Well, she was putting together a pitch for the Stream project, and that's why.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's lately or even. I'm just, just the timing is interesting that we know we're getting a new Batman writer.
I haven't read her Ms. Marvel, but it's a completely different tone than stuff that we've been getting in Wonder Woman. So it could literally be anything because that's how well versed of a writer for superhero comics she's become. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, so hopefully it's DC. I'm excited for whatever it is though, because she's very good. And obviously there's always a chance that it's something like an Archie or something, because that could be a dream project. But I'm going to assume DC or Marvel until otherwise.
If it was creator owned, I think we would have known.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So okay, time for your weekly Shazam delay. So for the 8th week in a row. DC's pushed back Shazam's issue 7 another week in the schedule. Notably, last time it was 2 weeks they pushed it back. It's now been pushed back to September 25th. And I feel like at this point they should just take it off the schedule and just solicit it again when they actually know it's coming out. That feels like it's...
Yeah, there are currently 4 issues solicited.
Yep.
So this is what I was teasing with me and Connor. I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, I'm done reading Shazam until
it comes out. Yeah.
No, even when it does come out, I'm not reading issue 7.
It was a joke, Connor. Get the sense of humor.
Make it clear. I'm done. It's a decent enough book, but the art issues were hurting it anyway. At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just. There's we can wait 3 months for an issue of Doomsday Clock, and then you get an issue of Doomsday Clock, and it's holy shit, right? And it's so dense and there's so much. I'll wait 3 months, I get an issue of Shazam, I'm like, yeah, it was good. And it just, I'll read it eventually when there's 20 issues.
Yeah, I'll still read it when it comes out. I'm not feeling that strongly about this. I'm just kind of feeling like...
comes out.
It's just kind of funny to me. Like, I don't know. I'm not that pissed about it. I'm just kind of like, this is kind of amusing.
No, I'm not even angry at it. I'm just like, you know what? I've lost interest.
I just don't lose interest because of delays. I just kind of when it comes out I'll read it. I don't really think about it too much. there's definitely some other examples where it's so long that I don't remember anything that happened in a book.
Well, that's what
And that
I'm
can be an
getting
issue.
at with this one. With 6, I don't remember what happened, and I don't really feel like digging back through my back issues.
Yeah,
to
time
go
to
see.
read it anyway.
Yeah, so
Yeah. No.
you know,
I'll still read it, folks. Don't worry. Someone will talk about it. But yeah. So September 25th is the current date. We'll see you next week when it's pushed back to October 2nd or whatever the next Wednesday is. So then I'll delay. Actually, this one's a bit more interesting, given the backlash that happened last week when Solicits came out. Young Justice issue 8 has been pushed back to September 11th, which is about 5 weeks of a delay.
Worth
a month
knowing
off.
September was supposed to be a skip month anyway, so there wasn't one solicited for September.
Yes, but now August is now skipping a month.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing here, though, is that the speculation immediately turned to, what if they're fixing Tim's costume because everyone hates it?
I'd be okay with that.
Because that's the first issue with the new costume. It was the reveal of that cover where everyone was cracking jokes about it. In fact, my favourite joke, which I saw in the last week, is that someone photoshopped on the UPS logo onto his chest.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good.
Because it looks like a UPS uniform.
he's the delivery man.
So yeah, Young Justice issue 8. So it's not really that big of a deal, given that it's not really pushing back issues beyond it. Given there was a skip month anyway. So let's hope the artist is going through the issue and changing all Tim's panels, and that's why it's been delayed a month.
And then the previous subsequent 2 issues as well.
Yes.
So Connor,
yeah.
20 minutes ago, they put up footage from Rise of Skywalker.
Is it online?
No. So be on the lookout for Disney to drop that later.
Do you know what's really funny is they showed the Mandalorian trailer like in the room to the panel, and I was like, God damn it, they need to put it online already. And James was like, yeah, well, good luck with that. You'll be waiting months. And then literally like
as soon
2
as he
minutes
said it,
later, it was like, here's the trailer.
So usually I never watch it on my phone first, right? Because it's like, why? But I was at dinner, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna not. And I didn't even realize that was Werner Herzog's voice until I watched the trailer again at home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I just say I love when James is wrong about things? It fills me with joy.
It is nice, isn't it?
Because he's so pessimistic and says he always assumes the worst possible thing's going to happen. Yeah. And just because he was right about Spider-Man, for now, I'm not convinced that this is permanent.
He was just talking about this in the D23 thread where I was checking on news, where he was saying the other day it's really messed up how powerful Disney is, and like they need to take a step back, and people need to take a step back from them. And now all the D23 Disney Plus news comes up.
Give it me all.
But at least he's self-aware about it because he goes, "This is what's called the duality of man." So but so I saw that and I didn't mean to break in as Kramer-esque as that was, but the last time they threw up a behind-the-scenes thing, it was up within a couple hours. So,
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Mandalorian looks great though, doesn't it?
Yes, I do. That's exactly my shit.
Yeah.
So,
even Pete didn't hate the trailer. He's just annoyed that we're talking about it.
I know. My wife wants to know why that's not Boba Fett. And when I told her that Boba Fett's not a true Mandalorian, she went, "Uh-oh, here comes a history lesson." And it was. So
I love that there's also a subset of fans you could say that to. And they'll be like, "How dare you imply such a thing?"
It's like, no, that comes from Filoni and Lucas himself. So which that makes sense though when you know the history of Mandalore. Although I watched the trailer with my mother-in-law this week or this morning, and she's like, "Oh, I think I want to watch that." So
I'm getting more Clone Wars in February as well.
Yeah, we're good. It's bridging all. So Disney's Thanos with the gauntlet, but you know what? Maybe Thanos had a point.
Maybe they're only leaving the good side of things.
Yeah, right. I am inevitable.
Pete's just annoyed that this is already getting more than Firefly ever got. Although I did actually see people speculating earlier that, well, do they own the rights to Firefly now after the Fox acquisition? So could we maybe get Firefly on Disney Plus?
I don't know why they would when you have the Mandalorian though.
Yeah, which does just look
no
like
offense,
Firefly,
Pete. Like I did try to kick a hornet's nest yesterday, and then he didn't respond, so it took away the fun. You know?
I wasn't taking that bait. I saw that tweet.
I know you weren't. But seriously, there's so much crossover with the look and the vibe. I don't know why. As much as I would love to see Captain Mal right again, you know, like
just because it would cash in on its own fan base, and and it would generate headlines as much as anything else, and
oh yeah,
it has its own appeal from a business side of things.
Would you just take another 2 movies, Pete? Like,
I mean, if
or
you're
would
asking,
you want
if you're asking,
would you want a revival series?
well, if you're asking what my ideal return of Firefly is, it's weird because we're so late on now, versus the original show that I think you have to account for the time difference and set it.
It didn't stop anything else that's been revived lately.
No, sure. No, but for a long time, though, it was like, the movie was essentially the second season finale for the most part.
Right.
Whedon said that a bunch of times.
Right.
So I think for a long time, the hope was that if we got another movie, the next movie would be essentially what the main plot of season 3 was going to be, or so on and so on. And well, you can still take elements from whatever you had planned. I feel like now you have to set it.
Now you have to jump to like season 12.
Yeah, you have to set it at least like 10, 15 years later to explain all the age differences. So as far, I mean, I think I'd want a show more than I want a movie, just purely because there'd be more of it. But if I'm going to get a movie or 2 instead to make it a trilogy and like give me more, I'll take that too happily.
He'll never badmouth Star Wars again.
I'll never badmouth Disney again. I'll badmouth Star Wars plenty, but Disney will get a lot of. If Disney give me a proper HD remaster of Buffy and Angel and give me some form of new Firefly, I will never badmouth Disney ever again.
Everyone goes on about Buffy and Angel and Firefly, but no one ever talks about Dollhouse.
No, I like Dollhouse a lot, but it's definitely
except for James.
James is weird where he thinks Dollhouse is much better than Firefly. I don't know what he's thinking.
Yes, I know.
But
I know.
I'm not sure he's that wrong.
No, Firefly's better. Firefly's better, but Dollhouse has got a lot of good things in it. I enjoy it a lot, but it is definitely the most flawed of his beasts, and a lot of that is to do with Fox, tinkering and interfering. And also having to rush the ending because it was like, hey, you're not getting a season 3, you're just going to have to wrap it up, and it was a very rushed ending as a result. But there's a lot of things in there that I liked, and again, if it had time to breathe, if it had its 5-season plan to play out or whatever, then I'd have probably loved it as much as I do other reading stuff. But
what if they did a Firefly animated series on Disney Plus in the style of Rebels and Clone Wars?
Because you could do that without accounting for the time difference. You could essentially do that as season 3.
I'd be less excited for that just because I as a rule, prefer live action, especially when it's coming from something that was already live action.
He's a terrible person, isn't he?
Animation for me, obviously there's some examples that I love, but I inherently am always less interested with animation than I am live action. I just am. I've always felt that way. Even though I like Pixar a lot, I've still not seen Toy Story 4. I'll see it when it's easy and convenient.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But but obviously there's exceptions. How to Train Your Dragon is a phenomenal trilogy.
Yeah, but you didn't go to the theater to see part 3, right?
Not part 3, but I did see part 2.
You did. I know you did.
Yeah, that's a part.
We got into a big argument because I loved Big Hero 6 more.
Hey, Big Hero 6 is great, but 2's How to Train Your Dragon 2 is better.
You and Stu gave me a prison beating.
However, they are both much better than the Lego Movie, which is out the same year. I'm going to throw that in.
Lego Movie is fun though.
Yes.
I still really like Lego Movie.
Huh?
Yeah, I still really like the Lego Movie a lot.
So do I. I like all 3 of them, but
Lego Batman's better than just the plain Lego Movie.
I don't know about that.
The Joker's voice aside, which I did not like. But I don't know. Anyway, but again, I just, that's what it is. Anyway, give me more Firefly, Disney. That was the crux of this conversation.
Also Black Panther 2, 2022. So,
there is Phase 5 movies already? What?
Yeah, announced just now with Coogler confirmed.
That's good.
Well, I guess as I was saying, it's weird that they only announced like 2 years of Phase 4, but that's all of Phase 4. It's just weird to only have 2 years of plans, but if they're going to announce a bunch of 2022 movies today, then sure.
Yeah.
Well, they also brought the entire cast of the Eternals up on stage, so...
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
announced Kit
that's the big
Harington.
project going forward.
Kit Harington's confirmed to be in
Yep.
it.
They'll still know nothing.
Indubitably.
Oh.
I don't know Game of Thrones, but I know 7 Days from Hell now because I watched that. So that's my Kit Harington thing that I can reference.
Did you watch the Tour de France one?
I don't know what's the follow up. No, I just saw the 7 Days of Hell.
All
But
right. Let me know when you do, because there's a key moment that just thinking about kills me.
oh dear. All right. Okay. So we were supposed to have questions this week. However, I may have neglected to ask for questions until very last minute, and as a result, gave no one any time really to actually send questions in. One person did in the like hour or two that I gave them did send in an email, so we have one question, which we will look at
Let's
now.
hope it's a good one.
That's always a good one. This is from Kevin Ray via our email for questions. But you could send in questions at any time, and we'll save them up for the next time we need them. So this is mftvquestions@gmail.com if you want to send in questions for whenever we need them. So excluding Batman, who has the best rogues gallery in DC Comics? I really like Wonder Woman's gallery. I believe it to be underrated. It's not a good
There's
question.
only one right answer to this.
You're going to say Flash.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the easy answer.
They have a team name.
Well, that's not all of them, to be fair,
another...
though. Because you've got the Rogues, but then you've also got Reverse Flash and Grodd and...
No, it's true, but I think the fact that you've got the Rogues are so the Rogues gallery and the Rogues themselves, they're so built into that.
Yeah.
That's how good they are.
The only other hero I can think of where there's a subset of villains within the Rogues gallery is Spider-Man, where you have the Sinister Six. So...
Well, X-Men has the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and all that.
Yeah, but, X-Men's a little bit different because it's a team.
Okay.
Where,
So there's naturally a lot more team villains because they're a team themselves.
You could say that about Justice League, couldn't you, with, Legion of Doom?
Sure.
By that same logic.
Yeah. So, one that doesn't get brought up a lot, so they're talking about Wonder Woman, which is good. I mean, you have Cersei, you have Kale, you have Dr. Psycho, you have
Cheetah.
Ares, Cheetah.
Giganta.
I was building up to Cheetah, Pete.
Building up. I'm sorry. Stole your thunder.
Right.
There's a good list of names there. Same as Superman.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily think of Superman having a great gallery, but then you stop and name them. You're like Brainiac, Bizarro, Lex Luthor, Metallo, Mixie,
Maxima. Yeah.
You're like. I feel like if you could name like a half dozen off the top of your head without thinking about it too much, it's like, okay, they've got a gallery. It's not just a couple of big villains. Even though
I would say Nightwing, I like his. We had Blockbuster, Tarantula, the mob element in Bloodhaven. I can't remember that character's name. And I'm drawing a blank on some of the other ones.
You got the one that was introduced in Rebirth that I hope pops up again.
God, shit. He is bird themed too.
Yeah. Raptor?
Yeah, Raptor. Yeah.
Raptor. Plus you get some of the Bat villains. I always thought that Two-Face was a good foil for Dick.
Two-Face is a Dick villain.
Yeah.
He is a Dick, you're right, yeah.
But yeah. Who else? I mean, you could almost divide Wally's and Barry's, right? Because you have some second generation Flash rogues in there, and Wally's kind of stands on his own too. I'm trying to go through Green Lantern, not really. I mean, you got Mongol, Sinestro.
Well, Green Lantern's kind of an interesting one because the creation of all the different Lantern cores kind of just automatically made a bunch.
Yeah, but you don't like a lot of those characters, Larfleeze maybe.
Atrocitus and Dexter, I think you can.
I like Dexter more than Atrocitus just because it's a cat. At any given moment, my cat can turn full Dexter. Like when I'm going up the stairs and she decides that my ankles are chew toys. But yeah, I like Larfleeze a lot just because he's such a cartoon character.
He is ultimate Scrooge.
Yeah. Right?
I mean,
one thing.
You've got the Manhunters and stuff. I feel like maybe Green Lantern could probably use a couple of more singular like
personal villains.
yeah.
Rather
Well,
than
you had
entities.
Black Hand. Black Hand under Johns was a pretty good. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going through the Justice League.
Martian Manhunter doesn't get enough solo comics to have a Rogues Gallery.
No, he had the White Martians at this point, and and Lex Luthor now, and that's about it.
Yeah. Aquaman's got what, Manta?
Yeah,
And Ocean Master. I think that's your big two.
Ocean Master, the King that was just opposed.
Yeah.
You can throw Nereus.
I don't know if Rat's big enough yet to sort of say he's part of the Rogues Gallery.
Well, like I said, Manta and Ocean Master definitely, but
They take up a lot of
that's about
oxygen.
it.
Yeah. So
Era.
once you get beyond the top sort of four members of the Justice League, you start to struggle because they only have maybe one or two each after that point. That are really memorable and notable, and people always bring up. It's just kind of the way it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But hey, yeah.
You as a team, you can say the Teen Titans because there's a lot of that were
Deathstroke,
specific to them with
Trigon,
Brother Blood,
yeah.
Clock King. I'm trying not to go too far back, but yeah. Trigon's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
You can do so much more with Trigon. Trigon is one of those villains that should be a DCU villain, not just relegated to the
because he's so
teen
powerful.
titles.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny that the
it's
teens
one of those where it's only
down.
funneled through the Teen Titans because of the personal connection with Raven. So it's like technically he's a Raven villain, but
yeah, because early on in that book,
stories of Teen Titans.
it's like issue 5 or something of that original New Teen Titans run where Trigon just straight up murders a child.
Yeah.
Like that happens. He's like super evil.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's so there's a deck builder game and there's a Teen Titans version, and he's the big bad. And when you get, because you have to end up working co-op to beat him, it's so hard. And that's what always made me think that was like, this version of the game is way harder than the first two, which are, main villains, from like Joker and Lex and them. So, yeah, I was like, man, Trigon needs more love as a villain. Does he factor into the TV show a lot?
Not really.
I mean,
he's technically behind stuff, but
yeah, I mean, he might be a big part of season 2 theoretically, based on.
they were
But we'll
only
never
just
find out
about to
'cause
deal
we're gonna
with
watch
him
it.
at the end of season 1, and then will I ever watch season 2? Probably not.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think the answer is the Flash for all three of us.
Yeah.
About who's the best Rogues Gallery after Batman.
I would get into fights with my friends. I would put the Flash's Rogues Gallery over Batman's, just because I feel, yes, Batman's are more iconic, but I've enjoyed way more stories of, like, Weather Wizard or The Top, and that might just be because of John's, right? Like,
Yeah, Joe, I think hurt Flash in terms of iconic villains in that sense is that Batman's had enough interpretations of a lot of his villains in the mainstream in various forms that people know who they are and have at least seen one good version of one of the villains. Whereas with the Flash, we have one TV show really. I mean, I know it was the '90s show, but that was very short-lived, and no one remembers it.
That said, some of Batman's lower tier are really good too. Where I don't think Flash has that. Like Batman's lowest tier is still better than, like, Mr. Zsasz. That's a great character.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's above. That's lower than Crazy Quilt.
Yeah. Right. Like,
I don't know if I.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can get on board with this.
No. So I mean, no. You reverse it. Where Zsasz, like, at the lowest, Batman's villains, they're still more interesting than some of Flash's, like, mid tier.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Sure. Like, not. Was it? What's the big metal one? Grinder?
Girder.
There you go.
Yeah. So, like, I'll take Zsasz over Girder and Tar Pit.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Tar Pit. I mean, I like the idea of Tar Pit. I don't know. I mean, from a character perspective, is he that interesting? Probably. I mean, not really.
No.
But The visual of Tar Pit's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, what I love about those characters too, those were characters that John's created as a kid reading the Flash comics. And then he kept his notebook long enough that he was able to actually turn them into Flash villains, which I always think is cool.
That is cool. All right, well, I guess we'll move on to books, guys. Finally.
No one else hit the tweets, huh?
No one else hit the tweets.
Did he remember to tweet about best books of the week?
Do you think I would have remembered to do one and not the other?
Yes.
Probably. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't put it past you.
Yeah. So there's your answer. There's your answer to that question. You know, between recordings there, we just sat and had like a 25-minute chat about monopolies and competition and how it's good for streaming services. And it was probably good enough that we should have just kept it in the episode, but we weren't recording, so you're just going to have to imagine that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, just know he didn't click record fast enough.
Yeah. Just know you can enjoy Disney Plus and Netflix. It's not one or the other. Like, if you subscribe to Disney Plus, they're not going to take your Netflix credentials away.
Yeah, yes.
Now, if they do, yes, that's a problem, and be upset. But just, there's other solutions. Like Connor was suggesting, get one for 1 month and one for the other.
Yeah, you can rotate. You can rotate.
Yeah.
Rotate between those two. When Apple hits, if you want the Apple one, you can rotate that in as well. I feel like most people have 2 or 3 at a time, and then they'll just rotate maybe the third one for the one they only need here and then.
Well, that's what me and Jared do for New Japan. We rotate who gets it. So it's because you don't need it all year round. You need it like twice a year.
Yes.
So.
Yes, that sounds about right. Yeah. What do they even have in September, like after the G1?
They have Royal Quest coming up, so which should be good. You have Suzuki versus Okada in
20 solid, amazing minutes of conversation. We get back on record and you two start chatting wrestling again.
Well, I'm just saying, it's New Japan has their system where WWE is all year round, right?
Yeah.
There's peaks and valleys with New Japan, and yes, they're working, but it's not big TV.
Because July and August have this tournament that's running out throughout the month, and there's tons and tons of stuff happening. You get September,
20 shows,
and then there's like a one-night thing in the whole month.
Yeah.
So the value month to month varies greatly for the new content.
Yeah. So it's but it works out. But that's what I'm saying. That's where me and my friend get together and we share New Japan and we pay each other, and and it works out. I'm just gonna say. So. Yeah.
Sorry, just to go on Disney Plus. I've just seen they've just we knew they were doing a Cruella de Vil film. I think.
Yes. Yeah. The Emma.
Yeah, they've released a picture of her. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, right, okay.
I don't like how it makes me feel, Connor. I don't want to like Cruella de Vil.
I didn't know this was a thing. But
oh yeah, this has been around for a while. A lot like Noelle, the Anna Kendrick, Bill Hader. There's been talks about this for a while, but Noelle was it don't look good. Which pains me to say.
I mean, I'll never watch it probably because I don't think.
Of course.
Watch a Christmas movie.
No amount of Anna Kendrick can get you to watch a Christmas movie.
No.
Emma Stone's looking very Beetlejuice in this. Actually, I'm just letting that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. D23 is happening right now, so that's why there's all these random bits of news that have nothing to do with DC Comics sprinkling
it's
through.
The complete opposite, but we might mention them as they pop up.
Yeah. There's some Marvel shows on there that all sound quite interesting.
Well, Disney Plus.
I got something DC related.
Oh,
what's that?
They confirmed that King Shark's going to be in Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
AKA not Batista.
Person voicing him played someone in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as well. So someone who's
of course.
Okay.
I was just gonna say Disney Plus also they announced that they're not doing the binge model. They're doing weekly, which
is better.
Yes. So because it's like this, because like you guys watch it differently, right? So like because you review them on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so you get, I feel like you get more when you wait, Glow and stuff. I have a friend that watched all of Glow in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him how it was. He goes, I can't remember.
Me and Peter spoke about this a lot before. As much as it's just good for our schedule, to have it weekly. I prefer weekly content
Me too.
anyway because I like that wait. I like having episodes designed to be okay, we'll see you next week and have that conversation in between.
Yeah. Also, this is purely a selfish thing for us, is that ultimately, because it's renewing interest in the show or whatever it is every week, the numbers do better on reviews. Like, whereas when you do a Netflix show, by the time you get to the end of the season, the dwindled a bit as time as as they went on.
So, and he keeps it in the consciousness more. Bill Simmons has talked about this a lot, where the problem with binging. That's why sports is still relevant, because it's continuous.
No, I'm with it.
Right?
If Game of Thrones had been a binge show,
it would have gone away.
The staying power that it does.
Yeah, exactly. Same with Walking Dead. We were talking about that's on what, season 8, 9?
Yeah, it's just it's like like a soap. It's just always there. So it kind of embeds into the consciousness.
And as much as I love Stranger Things season 3, and we binged it as it was that good because I couldn't help myself, I'd much rather have watched it over the course of a couple days, like I'm doing with The Boys, where it's the episodes are sitting with me now.
Yeah, so. Stranger Things season 3 we took about 2 weeks. No, admittedly we're trying to go a little bit quicker now. We were trying to do Netflix shows 1 per day, but even that still, like, for Stranger Things would be 8 days, which is a nice kind of spread.
Which
I think on Glow
is still slow.
Yeah.
When we did that, we were doing one every 3 days, Pete, I think. So it took us like a couple weeks to get through a season. But I remember those, so.
Yeah, the season 2's been good from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I gotta get to it. It's easier that they're a half hour too. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Very heartfelt. Anyway.
But books.
Books, yes. DC Comics. Which is what we're actually here to talk about. So we got Batman 77. This is Tom King writing with Tony S. Daniel and Mikel Janin on the art. So, City of Bane continues, and this issue is made up of 2 plot lines. One, of course, is just Bruce and Selina. Bruce waking up and kind of the initial moments of that. And then the main plot of the issue is Damian, who has snuck into Gotham, despite the fact that the Bat family were warned that if they entered Gotham that they would kill Alfred. And he faces off against Gotham Girl. Has some basically trash talk with her, and kind of wins briefly.
Yeah, because he uses magic.
Yeah,
which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, he basically says that you superpowered villains are easy. You just have to lure you into a magic trap.
See, I don't like this, and do you know what this is? When Pete always says, he hates magic, how you can just pull it out and it solves the problem.
Sure.
I find that less of a problem in a magic book, right? I'm going in. This is okay. There are magic, and then there's counter magic. Usually, there's an expectation that there's this fight. This here, James is like, I just borrowed Clarion's wand. I got it sorted.
Yeah, but I like that because there's that rule that he could only use it once, and that basically what he had to do to get that, and that he had talked about how easy it is to defeat Superman with magic. Way back in that Talia art.
I think
so.
The reason why I'm okay with this is because in DC Comics specifically, we have set up this just ongoing idea that superpowered people, Superman in particular, are affected by magic. So
they are, and I get that, but I would like get a magician in. Bring in someone who knows what they're doing. Don't just have David. Oh, he's got that one now, and he's choosing
if anybody's going to resort to magic to take out Gotham Girl, it's not going to be Tim.
Yeah,
he's not gonna be foolhardy enough to go in there. It's Damian because he's so impulsive.
In fact, you could argue it
checked out with me.
If you look at the Robins as having different traits of who Batman is, this is definitely a Batman trait. The idea that Batman would prepare and make the idea that Batman has red sun energy kicking around just in case he has to fight a Kryptonian or things like that.
Kryptonite gum, I believe, was from.
I think it just bothers me that he just pulls it out like, oh yeah, I got this. Like we didn't see any of this happen. It wasn't.
No, but
it was set up in the sense that he mentioned magic would work against them, which yes, we know anyway. But
and this is my major flaw with Gotham Girl is the more she uses her power, the more it's supposed to kill her, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't seen any adverse effects to her yet.
As of yet, I feel like that's probably coming right at the end of the arc, though, or the end of the run even.
As cool as the magic scene was, and I kind of liked Damian just being a little shit and doing this, and I almost rather have seen him try to burn her out. Like that's how he would mess with John, is just make him keep expelling the amounts of energy he has, until they're on the same level, and then do it. But this is payoff from the Talia stuff. I thought his voice here was better than the last issue for Damian too. Like, it was just the right amount of him being a little jerk that it worked. And Zaz and the Scarecrow.
Yeah, that's the next.
Thought those are perfect foils for Damian.
Yeah, that's the next scene we get to. They're as cops trying to execute a dog because the owner had the leash be longer than 3 feet.
Yeah.
But Damian comes down to intervene, and this eventually leads to his downfall, essentially. Because he ends up he goes to Flashpoint Batman.
I would just like to make a point to Scarecrow. Someone jumping out of the way of bullets because they tend to hurt is not a fear of bullets necessarily.
Well, no, I didn't read it as that. I read it as now he feels the fear of bullets after the fact, because he's just narrowly missed them.
Yeah, but so I'm gonna split the middle with you two. I get what the intention was, but that's not really a phobia.
It's more of a fear of death here, whereas fear of bullets is way more specific. I think it's not just it's not fear of being shot, and killed, is it?
Because acrophobia isn't just the fear of heights; it's the fear of falling, right? Like fear of heights is its own thing. So I don't know. So
sure. I didn't read too much into it. I just felt like no, we're giving him a Scarecrow line because he's Scarecrow. That's how I read this panel.
Sure, but that bugs me. Just doing it because he's Scarecrow. That annoys me.
I don't know. That panel didn't really bug me. It's definitely not one of the more interesting Scarecrow, bringing up a phobia like he does. Cause obviously, that's the thing he did a lot with Scarecrow. But I mean, I'll concede that one more than the magic wand one though, because I had no problem with that scene. So he goes to Flashpoint Batman, and basically, I kind of like him standing up to him and being like, "You're not really my grandfather. You're from some other universe. This, you're not this." And basically, Flashpoint Batman's like, "Hey, you know what the stakes were. You know what the rule was if you entered this city." And he's like, well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to beat you. Damian's been an arrogant little shit. And lo and behold, he gets beat. He gets beat by Flashpoint Batman, and he wakes up tied to a chair, bloody and beaten, and Bane snaps Alfred's neck.
In the most, it's the cruelest way possible, too, the way that the scene is designed.
Yeah, because it's all on Damian for the first page with the panels, and you hear the voices, sort of explaining why this is about to happen, and then you also hear Alfred begging not to do it in front of him. Like he's accepted that he's going to die, but he's begging not to do it in front of Damian. Now, of course, I don't necessarily believe that Alfred's dead. It doesn't feel like it's really happened.
I said earlier in the week, there's two options. One, this was Alfred's death, and this was the big thing that he had to get permission for.
Sure.
So, because we know there is supposed to be a big change coming, so I mean that would stand to reason.
Yeah, no, that'd be a big deal.
Or alternatively, this is just a cop out because it's a comic and we've seen it all before.
Yeah, I've seen it all before.
Yeah.
What's weird about this is that I didn't read this till today, and somehow I saw no chatter about this at all on Twitter.
Yeah, that's where we're at with Batman now.
I saw this spoiled on Tuesday before this came out, and mainly because I actually saw retailers going, "Okay, we're limiting the copies."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't feel like it's oddly, because I feel like because there's been no pandemonium online, and I didn't see any not even a spoiler, but just people reacting to it. Like the only thing I saw this week that implied something interesting might have happened was that Tim came into the group chat and said, "Hey, has everyone read Batman? I want to ask a question." And that is the only hint I had that anything big happened this issue. So when this moment happened, I thought, well, that's a really I like how it's presented. I like the scene and how it plays out, and then the big splash page of Bane just doing it. It looks really menacing and dark, but I had this feeling of, well, this is obviously not sticking. It didn't feel like it really happened.
It's kind of weightless and a little bit meaningless. It's like, right, okay.
But the fact is, in hindsight, if it does turn out that he's dead and we're going to keep Alfred dead for at least a while, I'll be like, okay, I guess it did happen then. And if I reread the issue, I'll feel differently about it. Which is a weird
thing where it completely still undercut the beat then, didn't it? Where you just went,
oddly,
right.
But the thing is, though, it's not the book's fault. it's actually it's comic like media's fault because I'm used to like, there being like an outrage and like news articles and people on Twitter talking about deaths like to.
Here's the question:
Is
there anything that the book could have done to make you believe it, like genuinely?
I don't think so. Because my issue here is not what the book does. My issue is that because there was no reaction, I just don't feel like it really happened.
We should say, this is as blatant as it gets if they're going to pull a fake out, because we've got, it's Damien's point of view, which is a character we can usually trust. It's Bane snapping it on panel. It's not hidden. Now, again, I say it's Damien's point of view. Could be some scarecrow toxin.
Don't forget Psycho Pirate's mask is in play.
Yeah,
there's definitely things there that could be at play that explain why this isn't real, but at the same time though, like I don't feel like Bane would have any reason to not just kill him. Like Bane feels like he would just do it.
But here's the whole thing. Now that means even with Damien, and Damien brings this up, without Alfred, now that there's me, right? Now he's the person that they'll kill if they come in. Yeah. Like, so what? Batman and Catwoman are gonna sneak in and risk his son's life? That's even, that's even worse than Alfred.
I mean, I feel like this is the thing though. Batman's going to do it no matter what. He was always going to do it, even with Alfred's life in the line, because he's going to try and take back the city.
He might have done eventually.
Right, but that's what I'm just saying. Like, it doesn't solve the Batman problem. Like, they think Batman's gone.
He's having a nice little stroll around Paris
that stupid cafe from Dark Knight Rises.
I was thinking that as well, actually.
Yeah.
To be fair though, they said the Bat family, like, because they think Batman's defeated, they didn't actually specify Batman.
Yeah, but it's in the context clues there.
Sure, but this is the thing.
Batman's not going to show up with a lawyer and go,
The story is always going to lead to Batman sneaking out of the city to take it back, right? That's always where it's going. I understand
that, but I'm talking about now that the stakes, I would say, are relatively lower. If you're Tim and you already don't like Damien, you're going to take much more of the risk to go in there to save the day if it's Damien versus Alfred, right? I think the scene's played out well. The page after the big splash page where it's just Damien crying. I think this is really well handled. It's really well done. Yeah. So...
I just want to say I found the art shift really jarring because I had assumed going in, one of them will be doing the Bruce stuff, one will be doing the Gotham stuff.
Yeah,
and that's not it at all. It's Janin right up until like a page before we're with Bane and Damien, and then we're swapped over to Daniel, and their styles are not exactly complementary. Don't get me wrong, I like both artists, but it felt like a jarring shift.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that. At the very least, it's not like a nosediving, because sometimes when you have two artists, there's one that you like and there's one that you flat out dislike, and at least here it's not that.
No, it's not.
So obviously it's like the Batman and Catwoman stuff is basically Bruce wakes up and he's like, I need to go back and save the city, and Catwoman's like, no, you're too hurt, you have to wait. But at the end they're in costume and it's like, okay, we're going to go take back the city. So the issue, I think City of Bane has actually been pretty solid. I think obviously the 15, 20 issues, whatever it was before it, soured people a lot on Batman.
Yep.
But I think this issue's pretty good. I liked it.
I'm starting to test my limits of King's Batman. We'll see where this goes. But I didn't enjoy this issue that much. I did like the Damien stuff, but then we got to the Alfred thing. I'm just... because I don't trust it. If I was like, oh no, Alfred's definitely dead, like, I think it would be a little bit different. But the fact that, like, oh, well, that's probably not Alfred dying, and it probably doesn't mean anything. And Batman's going to come in, and, I feel like the stakes aren't really there.
But no, that's the thing. You're going, oh, Batman's going to come in and save the day, because it's a Batman story. And you can say that about every Batman story.
Comics.
But
I get it,
but
yeah,
you've got to feel it when you're reading it still.
Yeah,
you got to feel there's a chance that Batman won't.
Yeah, like I always say, and this is the opposite shift where I still remember the feeling of when Wally West came back in the Lightning Saga, right? I remember turning that page and seeing that beautiful ginger hair on the page, And it's one of the moments that I love most about comics, is that it can make me feel like that. But over the course of these issues of Batman, I don't feel anything like that. Like I should be super upset that Alfred's dead.
Yeah, and even the last page of this where they're in costume, they're going to do it now. I felt nothing. Like, oh, okay, right. This is done. This subplot's done with now.
These are fair complaints. I'm not like disputing this, but for the most part, because I think the Bruce and Selina stuff's the weakest of the issue. Like, I mean, I think that's.
Oh, it's almost a nothing.
Yeah. But like the Damien stuff, I liked. I did like how the Alfred death was handled, but I think there's actually a bigger discussion to be had here about or even our mistrust of this, because there isn't like a weird react. Like we're so used to having these reactions to deaths that not having it actually makes the comic feel weirder. When in reality, I feel like we always wish that we didn't know. We always wish it was a surprise, but we're so used to it not being a surprise that when it actually is
a surprise, you're like, that's not real.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I saw this before I read the comic, because I obviously Pete just didn't see it for whatever reason. I definitely saw some stuff. Headlines is blank really dead in Batman 77. It was a headline from probably CBR.
It was, because I just read that article.
There we go. And I'm like, even knowing that going, it still doesn't. I didn't think he was dead. It didn't really have any impact. Which that's sort of.
And this is not just King, because I remember being on the edge of the page, or the edge of my seat, however you want to say it, reading the War Jokes and Riddles with all those twists, and you know what I mean. So we know he's capable of it. What has happened since?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. When I'm invested into it, it's like there are movies I can watch where I know someone's about to die, and it still hits me because it's got impact and weight in it, right?
You won't. This won't resound with you, but I just watched Endgame last weekend, and parts of those still hit me emotionally and I know what's coming. Like there's certain parts of that just.
Joe, I think that maybe an actually even more appropriate reaction. I mean, I didn't get this feeling, but I know a lot of people. Infinity War. It made them give a shit when people were, dying or vanishing, right? People cared, even though we all know they're coming back in the next movie, right? It's not a big surprise we know where this movie's going, but people cared. This here, where you go, well, Alfred's probably not really dead, but I didn't care. I didn't even care that it was doing it, and I don't feel like anyone really did.
I until I see Alfred in the ground, I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, until we get to the funeral page, and because then this made me think about like the future story that we had seen. What was that in the annual?
Yeah,
and whatnot, where we had seen what had happened, and if Damien was responsible for Alfred's death, I don't think the family would have treated him the same way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, that's another good point actually. Is that if this is real and he's really dead, then it is actually Damien's fault. So that's a consequence that has to play out. We have to play out the fact that he.
I would almost want Alfred to be dead just to see that story.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I like about it here is I do like the idea of they said, no, if any Bat family member comes out of the city, we're going to kill Alfred. I like the fact that when someone did, they just killed Alfred. Like, I like that there was no...
Bane delivering on his word is very Bane.
Yeah, I like the simplicity of that. I like the simplicity of... No. I said don't do this, you did it. Snap. There, easy. Makes it feel very vicious.
So is this basically what Batman Catwoman's going to be? Is the search for Alfred? They have to go find his spirit in the underworld?
Yes. Yeah. What was the name of the planet in Search for Spark? Damn it, I can't remember. Genesis? It was Genesis.
Genesis,
yeah. I'm going to go search Genesis for Alfred.
Yeah.
All I had in my head was Eden. I was like, it's not Eden. But
I kind of want this. Now I want the Batman story where him and Catwoman have to venture down into Hades, and Alfred's waiting there, and he's like, "Nah, Bruce, this is my time's up." And see, that's the emotion. That's the emotion I could get behind, and him having to lose another parent, but this time as an adult, and what that would do to him. I don't feel that. I don't feel that here.
I don't think I
Like-
want to see them speak to Alfred as a ghost or whatever. I don't want that.
Oh, I do.
If
In the
Alfred's
underworld,
dead,
definitely
I
do.
never want to hear another word from Alfred that's not a recording or a letter or something that he
Nah.
did before he died.
No, I want the underworld scene now.
I
He's on the other side of the river Styx.
with few exceptions, I hate hearing from characters as a ghost or in the afterlife or whatever. When they're dead, I want to know they're gone.
Is this why you don't like ghost movies, Pete?
I like some ghost movies, but I mean, if they're just horror stories, then I'm fine with it. But
Well, I mean, that's
see,
deep down. That's
anytime
why you like Insidious, because it's not so much ghosts as much as it's something else.
No, but
You know?
anytime there's like a haunted movie, and eventually, like at the end, like the dead parent, the good ghost will show up to help. Like I roll my eyes every time. I freaking hate it. It's garbage. Don't do it, writers. It's awful.
Did you see Annabelle Comes Home?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I can imagine you throwing a fit at a certain point.
I
And going, no.
hate it. I hate it. I don't know. Make death mean something. Don't have this. Oh, we can talk to the spirit.
I like the emotional aspect there.
And do you know what
getting
handled
one
that
last
very
time.
well? The hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. where-
Yeah, well, that's because nobody saw that coming. That episode.
Well, not
You
just
know?
that, but there's a few examples on that show where if the character really died from like a non-magical means, they stayed dead. There was no ifs and or buts. They're just gone.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil. Certain
Yeah,
aspects were handled really well.
Yeah, of course. What are we rating this book, Matt? What are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it 7.5. I did like the art and certain aspects of it. Like it wasn't as bad, but this run's wearing thin. I'm ready for a new Batman writer.
Well, luckily for you, you only got about 7 issues left.
Yes, I know.
Connor.
I'm giving it a 5.
Fair.
Yeah,
It's not the worst issue, but I have complaints, and I didn't really enjoy it. It's just, I read it. I hate it.
Beacon of passion as always.
Let's have a question, Matt. Are you going to read the Batwoman and Catwoman?
I don't know.
Batman. God, my brain's fried.
Depending where we go. If we get the search for Alfred, then yes, definitely. That's my wheelhouse. But if
just
not,
'cause, like,
I can't tell you.
you're ready for it. You say you're ready for
Yeah.
the new Batman, and obviously you're going to get that alongside that book regardless. Do you just
Yeah.
well, like, you're getting your dose anyway, so you'll carry on, or are you just like, you know what, I don't need
I might just wait for trade. You know, like I might just. It's gonna be 12 issues.
I hope
That brings into nice.
I hope the issue 1 variant is just a Star Trek 3 poster, but with Batman and Catwoman and Alfred on the
Yeah,
cover.
it should be. Hey, if you guys are good at Photoshop, make that for me, please.
Batman and Catwoman, the search for Alfred. Oh dear. I will give it an 8. I like the issue. Bruce and Slater stuff's a bit weaker, but the actual core Damien stuff was really good. Damien's arrogance, basically getting Alfred killed. Feels like it should have big fallout. And hopefully it is real. I mean, even though the moment maybe it doesn't play as perfect as it should, like I hope they stick with it just so that it doesn't feel like a cheap comic book thing. But hey, and also Bane being behind the death of Alfred like really elevates Bane in a way. Like no, he's the one.
See, I've always liked Bane. Now I have a friend that's a huge Batman fan that does not like Bane. So we disagree big on that. I can see that. That definitely adds a feather in his cap.
Your friend is a fool.
Well, it might just be I really enjoy that banana pants portrayal of Bane by Tom Hardy.
Bane is the bestest of all the Batman villains, yes.
The fire rises.
It's better with a can. The bottle's not as good. So that'll take us on to Aquaman 51, which of course is written by Kelly Sue DeConnick and art by Robson Rocha. So we're moving all the aquatic gods, the sea gods, to the actual island.
To the haunted island?
To the haunted
Amnesty
island.
Island.
Because this would never, this couldn't possibly be a terrible idea ever.
Jackson's around, of course, after being picked up from the police station. And a lot of this issue is him and Aquaman kind of like as they're helping the sea gods, just kind of he's trying to like vow for his position as sidekick or assistant as he tries to name it, because sidekick sounds a bit bit old fashioned. Yeah.
Yeah. His partner, his ward. He's trying to come up with a better name.
Precisely. Do you know what I'm liking about this arc and what this run's kind of become is I'm loving that we're really getting the small town vibe. Like, it's something that I think was missing, even though I liked a lot of Rebirth Aquaman, is that it dealt so much with Atlantis and the politics of it that I actually really like that we're back to, okay, we're in Amnesty Bay and it's Aquaman with the people and there's a supporting cast that we've not gotten to see a whole lot of for a while. You know, and I will say I like the art typically, but I do think Jackson's face as he's diving off the cliff into the water is troubling.
Ooh-wee. That gave me a shock. I turned that page and I was like, oh.
Yeah. I have a question that's a bit of a nitpick, but I want an answer.
Okay.
It's been bugging me. When they get to the island, Aquaman, it's when it's like, hey, you got a spare shirt I can borrow. He took his shirt off at the top of the cliff before he dived off and just left it there because he didn't want it to get wet. I mean, I don't understand why he just took it off, left it there, and then went, hey, give me a shirt.
I don't have an answer, but I will say I'm okay with all this just because Callie says traitor when the old woman gives him a shirt. That made me laugh.
I mean, fine, but I don't disagree with that. I just thought it was really weird. Like, you just took one off. What was wrong with that one?
Yeah.
It's all for the joke. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Meanwhile, in Atlantis, the Volko Mira wedding's been planned, and the old widowhood lady, what's her name?
Satya.
There you go. Is it Satya or Satia?
I'm gonna say it's Satya because whales and porpoises are in the species. They're called cetaceans. So
okay. No, that's a very good reason for it. I just I wasn't sure if it was a hardtie or softie. But she speculates that Mira's just biding time. She doesn't really expect this wedding to go through. Just waiting for Aquaman. And I actually really like the transition from that sort of accusation to Aquaman just watching the sunrise over the water. Mm-hmm. I think it's this idea
how that panel was so bad, and then you have those panels so good.
I know those panels. Yeah. Those panels of him watching the sunrise are really, really beautiful. And it's really quiet. There's just like one bubble at the bottom to transition into the new page. And I think what I like about this is this idea that they both want to see each other, but they're both obviously like, because he thinks she tried to kill him or did kill him, and so they're in this awkward place. So Jackson can make a rainbow.
Apparently,
yeah.
With his aquakinesis.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it's just the light going through it, so he's just putting the water in the right spot.
Yeah, and Aquaman's like, I'm sure that's useful, so he's being all
sarcastic. I like it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Erica shows up with the boyfriend, and they get everything ready in the lighthouse. They turn on the lights, a whole big moment. Super big deal. Big light in the dark. But we find out that Jackson's actually familiar with the author dude who was in the lighthouse, who went mad.
Yeah.
And as we saw last issue with that excellent flashback, maybe got nabbed by a sea monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a fan of his book, so Go ahead.
Really are painting this as just this is our Lovecraft, right? Because
that's what I was just getting to.
All the things he wrote about. There's games based on the work.
Yeah, and the madness.
And
all of that. Yeah.
So the guy who dropped off supplies though gets attacked by some sort of sea creature on his little boat on his way back to the mainland, and then they hear it. There's this big blood red panel of like him being presumably just straight up murdered, and they all come running. And the final page is them facing down this giant kaiju-sized sea monster. It's got a lot of tentacles. It's not Cthulhu, but it's got a lot of tentacles.
No, it's very Kraken-esque.
Yes.
I'm actually wondering if it targeted that guy in particular, because obviously there's a moment early on between him and Jackson where Jackson felt pretty uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then and talking about the guy he writes about all resentments and guilt and bad feelings. And I'm like, okay, was this specifically targeting this guy because of what he did earlier that day, rather than just being that coincidence?
Yeah, that could be. We'll dig into more. It depends. Is he actually aiming for the rest of them now, or is it just they've caught him in the act? So that's why the fights.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I just think that the when it comes to if he was writing about actual gods, right? and these dark gods that are there, they're not going to like the fact that there's, these new sea gods there too. So I feel like it's it's drawing towards them.
Also, I tell a lie. I said that was the last page. Well, it's technically true. It's the last page of the main story. There is actually a few more pages.
The last part that we cared for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, there is one thing I like in this last little Black Manta bit with Lex Luthor. There is one thing I like here. I don't like the idea that his dad's like AIs in it, but I will say I kind of pop for an Aquamech.
Aquamech, yes. In Black Manta going, oh, Lex, I thought we were done. He's like, yeah, you're never done with Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Like, I liked that it played to that Black Manta was, thrown out of the Legion.
This bit felt worse than most of the villains that we've had, because this is 4 full pages.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Lex at the end, say hello to Daddy.
Yeah, that line's terrible. I don't like the AI thing, but I do like the mech itself. I think it looks kind of cool.
This was just, hey Manta, I made you a mech suit. Go ahead. This would be fun.
Here's the thing too, without the dad's AI, just play up on the fact that Black Manta is Jackson's dad. And then, Lex is like, oh, your son's been palling around with Arthur, or with Aquaman.
Well, I can already see this. Oh, hey, you've got a big giant mech suit, and your son's in danger from these big giant kaiju sea creatures. Do you want to come and give us a hand?
Yeah, but last we checked, Manta doesn't really care that Jackson's his son. I can see it being one of those things where he doesn't care until he's about to die. Yeah. Well, I can see that's why the grandpa AI is there, because he's gonna have a robot grandpa now. And this Aquamech's gonna become a character, and I'm gonna love it.
Oh, it's Manta Mech. They call it Mecha Manta, but
Manta Mech. Then if it doesn't shoot lasers out of its eyes, I'm gonna be very pissed.
Oh, it should. It will do. It's got the head. That was
the best thing in the Aquaman movie of Black Manta, was that they made the eye beams work.
Well, they barely had a character, so yeah. I mean, the visuals and the flash
pretty low
stuff.
Bar, but
but still.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I like the mech, but less time on these stupid Year of the Villain scenes, please, going forward.
It was bad enough when there were 2 pages, but 4 pages is just far too much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I thought the issue was over quite quick, actually, because I was really enjoying the issue. I was like, oh...
you get to that kaiju, and you're like, hell yeah.
Yep. Yep. What are we giving it, Matt? What are we giving it?
I'm going to give this one 8. It would almost be a 9, but those last 4 pages, that knocks it down a point for me. I did not enjoy those.
Connor?
Yeah, I got to the end of the title page. I went, oh shit, that was an 8.5, and then there was 4 more pages, so I'm giving it an 8. I've got to knock some off for that. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because it would be a 9, but the 0.5 comes off for that. Obviously, it wasn't a 10 because of that stupid face that Jackson had.
Yeah, it was real bad.
It's a shame because most of the art has been really. We've been praising Rocha a lot in this.
Yeah, he's a solid artist. Just that face was weird.
Yeah,
it's like he was going for the whole like wind in the cheeks thing, where it's kind of like blowing back the face, but it just ended up looking really goofy.
It was it didn't work.
Well, that'll take us on then to Jimmy Olsen, issue 2, Matt for Action writing with Steve Lieber on the art. And I feel like this will be 10-15 minutes of Matt and Connor gushing, whilst I quietly just enjoy it, but don't.
But you did enjoy it.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, much like the first issue, it's split into a lot of little portions. There's all these different little title pages for different things. And obviously the flashback story set back in the olden days with Joachim Olsen.
Joachim, yeah.
He like this is obviously a plot that we're going to have running through this story because it's just kind of building on part and part. He's walked in with a chunk of gold.
Well, that's it, because obviously at last issue he was kind of just the old crazy dude up on the hill. He'd been there for a long time. His family had been there, but they weren't influential. Whereas we're constantly being told that the Luthors and the Olsens, they're the 2 founding pillars of Metropolis. So he must have struck big at some point.
Oh yeah.
Right.
We see Jimmy arguing with his brother about the statue, the Olsen statue that he destroyed. Kind Is it weird to me that all of a sudden there's all this mythology that there's an Olsen statue in Metropolis?
Well, no, it was the Luthor statue, but because of his brother, I'm just blanking on his name.
Julian
wants to preserve history of Metropolis because this is the gentrification argument of Luthor. He doesn't care what he gets rid of, like all the character of Metropolis. It doesn't matter because he's gonna put in, new real estate, and it's gonna cost this much, and it's gonna bring in certain people. Whereas Julian Olsen's like, well, no, we can't lose our history, even if it is a stupid, monument to Luthor himself. It's history and deserves to be preserved. And Jimmy, with despite his best intentions, is now part of Luthor being able to get rid of that without a second look. And so I like that. I like that dichotomy.
It's true.
I remember him destroying a statue, and because of the way they were speaking, I thought it was an Olsen statue.
No, that's not lying.
It is about that. Do you know what's really funny is I learned a story of a statue that was up here. Obviously, a long time ago now, but it was this statue that stood, on the street corner just over the road from me for about 200 years, and then one day it vanished. And what happened? They figured out what happened by following, to a point, by following some paper trails. This was before World War II, just before, where we just around the corner is the airport I work at now. Used to be an RAF base. It used to be like a big training ground. One night after being at one of the local pubs, the soldiers there, the pilots, they're in the van, in the truck going back to the airport, and they hit the statue. It was like a fountain statue.
Yeah.
Hit it and knocked it off, and went, what are we gonna do with this? So just took it back to the base and gave it to the superior, signed it all in, and then it was never seen again.
Huh.
It's just like, how do you misplace? It's like not a small thing. How do you misplace that?
See, here in Vegas, we just blow stuff up. So anything gets to like 40 years old, it's time for the implosion. Wow. And not as much now. So, but I understand where Julian Olsen's coming from, because I love to go to, anytime we go to a city that has a downtown and you can just feel the age, it's so alien to me because everything here is so fake. And most of the city didn't pop up till the 60s here. So that's like our oldest part.
I always laugh at in our town centre. It's not even closed down, but it used to be a strip club right across from the town hall, like directly opposite from the town hall. And it's this building from like 1910.
Yeah.
So it's like, not a hugely old building in comparison, but old by modern standards.
Well,
and it's the last place you would think would be a strip club.
Yeah, like Stu's house that he lives in is over 100 years old.
Yeah,
that's older. That's older than most parts of my city. So like Vegas didn't become an actual city until 1905. So we're talking 115 years, give or take. So. But no, so I definitely got onto the Olsen thing. But the part of this issue I really liked, besides the talking head portions, where I feel like Fraction and Lieber really have like that TV show dynamic down. Of Luthor talking and Olsen talking, and but the conversation with Superman.
Oh, what a shock! Matt liked to see my Superman in it.
Well, just because it showed like Superman's not afraid to get silly with his best friend. Like, he didn't know how much of this Jimmy's going to use, but he's going to go full in and put on the wig and,
Yes, this is the bit that gets the actual topic, because like I say, all throughout it is like the lead into a title page with the box of text, and then it swerves. And I don't know about you people, I've read every single one of them, and they're all delightful.
They can see here for this scene is that Jimmy's doing an interview, a piece where it's the secret powers of Superman. And it's basically Superman doing a bunch of crappy magic tricks that aren't actually Superman powers. He's
doing close-up magic.
Yeah. But this is a joke. The joke is that these aren't really his powers. He's just doing these goofy little things. So I read most of the title page things. I got a little tired of it at one point.
I read all of them. They were quite
I love them.
Like even the actual title page, DC Comics cautiously presents Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Lex wants to build his monorail thingamajig, however it is, around the city, which is part of his development plans. I will say, if I've got a disappointment, it's that there wasn't enough stuff in Gotham itself. Basically, we finally get to him in his Gotham shitty motel apartment at the very end, and he calls in someone for help, and then we see in the last page, it looks like it's Lois. Looks like Lois is jumping from Metropolis to go help Jimmy.
Because Jimmy's supposed to be dead, right? Like this is he's deep undercover, and now Lois. And what I love is that they keep her lack of spelling. Like this is de facto now. Like from the editors group.
The post-it notes, the spellings of bludgeon, collusion, and asylum. And you're like, what stories is she writing?
Yep. But no, but that Perry, those are some of the words that she misspelled from her own series, the Rocha stuff. Yeah, that Perry killer. Like, there's no ass in asylum, or there is. I forget what it is. You have an extra S.
Yeah, collusion was one, but the collusion mistake was different, I think, in the regular, because it was a U at the end of the word rather than...
Okay.
Yeah,
I just remember asylum and collusion were there.
So, I mean, I had fun with the book. I do feel that the main thing I was looking forward to though was like getting more of the plot with him now in Gotham, looking into his murder. Like, it was relegated to like 2 pages at the end. I was like, I could have used more advancement on this.
Well, I also love here too that we see him and Luthor. Like, I feel like they're setting up Jimmy and Luthor as much as Superman and Luthor, because here we get to see how he got his Pulitzer picture, and there's a whole bit with the medal or the coin that they give you when you win the Pulitzer, but it basically was an accident when he bumped into Luthor and then Luthor spit on him because he didn't tie his shoes. So I like that. There's just a lot of character in this book that is only I feel like you can only get from Fraction.
I love this. It was all these little vignettes of the various stories that kind of build into a fairly cohesive whole overall, which is a strong talent given how distinct they all are.
Well, yeah, I also like here that you see all of his adventures that Superman talks about, and they're all these really crazy. Him fighting a Brainiac drone, and
I don't know, the one where he's a horse.
Yeah, turned into a horse, and making out with this alien-looking chick.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say every single one of these things has happened in comics at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. Right?
How many were in Kirby's issues?
Yeah. Well, and then you get to the real stuff with him and Lois and Clark embedded with the military. Jimmy's all beat up and he's got 3 cameras around his neck and whatnot. And it just shows yes, he's goofy, but turns out he's also really good at his job. And I like that Superman's trying to remind him that. Yeah. And then when Superman takes off and he says up, up, and then he takes off and Jimmy's like, oh, that's my favorite part. So there's these little character beats that I like that, if this was a 6-issue mini, I would say, we're wasting too much time. But there's 12 here. So we're going to get to the Gotham mystery part, like why he's dead. So I'm okay with it taking its time.
I kind of like just the idea that this is pseudo-narrated by Jimmy, it feels like. Yeah. And it's the idea of, this is just how he tells the story. He just goes off on one. And it's like how, with his brother, he's like, oh, did I never tell you about how I got that photo? He's like, yes, 17 million times. Well, and it's kind of the same here, where he's just he kind of goes back and forth. It's a very fractured narrative.
Yeah.
No, I mean, art's pretty consistent with the last issue as well.
So I love it. I really love the flat colors as well. That is working wonders on this book.
It feels like a Silver Age book.
It's supposed to. I mean, the narration boxes in the various title pages plus the flat art really. Try to give it an impression. Try to give it that feel.
Man, and we're just at a spoil still. I brought this up last time, but the Lois books is really good. I'm enjoying the Superman books, and now Jimmy, it
feels really weird, personally, reading just Lois and Jimmy and not anything else from Superman Family, which it's like those are the books that I'm reading is unusual. But I love both these books, so
Also, don't forget Supergirl, man. That's been great too.
Yeah. But I'm talking directly. Like, she's off doing her own thing in space right now. these feel a little bit more interconnected. But yeah.
What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm giving it a 9.
Okay. Connor?
I'm also giving it a 9.
I'm giving it a 7. Look at me being the villain.
Oof.
It's good.
Terrible
Hey,
person.
7 on my scale, Matt, is good. On your scale, it's, this was shit.
He's got a point.
True.
7's fine for me.
Yeah, that means if you get below a 7, though, you done messed up. You done goofed.
I can enjoy a 6, but it's just when you hit 5 and under where I'm angry at you. Hear me, writers? Hear me? Okay. We'll move on then to Black Mask, You're the Villain, issue 1. Where's my button?
Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor, of course, writing this book, this issue, which, let's be honest, is probably the reason why we read it, because I probably would otherwise be skipping a lot of these one-shots. But Tom Taylor wrote this one, so sure. Cully, Hamner on the art.
Yep.
So this is a Black Mask focused issue.
Hamner.
What did I say?
You just said Hammer. Hamner.
Hamner. Oh, I've written it down wrong. What I wrote down was Hammer.
I know he has a pet peeve about that.
Yep.
Sorry, Hamner. Sorry. But sometimes when you see M's and N's together like that, sometimes they just all mesh into one.
I think that's
squiggle.
why he hates it, because he goes to like cons and they've just put up his name as Hammer. He's like, God damn it, not again.
I think I would embrace the Hammer surname, honestly.
See, if I was an artist, I would have created my own logo for my name, where it's the first half is all capitals, HAM, and then NER in little. So it really hits it.
I think if let's say you were born with the last name Hammer, I think I'd curse my parents for not calling me Jack. I'd curse them for it. I'm Jack Hammer.
Or you would be able to give it to your own son and be like, look, I'm keeping it for myself, you stupid parents.
Anyway, so we get some backstory into Black Hammer and how much of a little shit he was as a kid, how bad his parents were.
Black Hammer?
Sorry. Freudian slip because of the thing. Black Mask.
Black Mask. Good old Roman Sionis.
We see a time where he met young Bruce Wayne because his parents were not as wealthy as them, but had their own.
No, they were in the upper crust of Gotham, and this issue made me realize that Black Mask was Hush before Hush.
Yeah, there's definitely elements of that.
There's elements there. I mean, their motivations are a little bit different, with Tommy Elliott wanting to be Bruce, where I don't think Roman ever did. He just kind of was like, I want normal parents.
I will say this: I never knew that Roman made his mask out the coffin, his mother's coffin.
Me neither.
No, that's
great touch though.
Yeah.
Great touch though.
I have a question. Matt, you just mentioned Hush there. Have either of you watched the animated Hush yet?
Nah.
Nope. It is very different from the comic.
Okay.
Well, about 2/3 of it is exactly the same, and it's all the batshit insane levels of just we'll throw everything at you.
Right.
And then the last third does something entirely different to what the comic does.
Interesting.
You have to tell me offline.
Yeah.
I think I'll have to reread it first, though. I don't remember how it ends.
Oh no,
Pete.
No,
it's been a while.
You remember how it ends. When I tell you what they've changed,
okay,
you'll be like,
Hush.
it's drastic.
Yeah, Hush is one of these pulpy. Like, the real reason that it exists is so Jim Lee could draw as many DC characters as he could in that first arc.
When I think of, outside of just the basic premise of who Hush is, what I think of when I think of Hush is just various splash pages of Jim Lee getting to draw Huntress and getting to draw Joker being punched in the face and so on.
His Superman affected, or his Poison Ivy affected Superman. One of my favorite images of all time. It looks so good.
I'd stand by Hush being a great beginner book. For someone who doesn't really know, they've seen Batman stuff in the past, obviously, because who hasn't? But they haven't read a lot of comics. But they're like, hey, what do I mean? It's a good intro.
Yeah. Once I get caught up, I think I'm gonna give that a reread. It's been a while. But anyways, Black Mask, Hush. You get to see Roman here.
The main plot of the issue, once we switch to present day, great bit of dark humor here actually, because he's with he's with one living guard. He's killed all the other guards in this bank, and the girl's name is Gary, and do you know what? This is easily the best moment out of all this year of the villain stuff, where Lexi's drone shown up, because Lexi's drone shows up, cuts a hole in the ceiling after Black Mask has been talking to this Gary guy. He freaks out thinking it's the police, shoots Gary in the face, and then Lexi's hologram pops out and says, he's like, "Oh, it's you, Lex. You made me shoot Gary."
Sorry, Gary.
I shot Gary.
Yeah.
I shot Gary made me laugh a lot. That was a really good little dark joke.
Yeah.
So basically, Lex is like, "No, hey, why don't you wear this other face and go run this company? This was it pharmaceutical company?
Yeah, it's
What's
pharmaceutical. It's
Headberry.
Headberry.
Yeah.
Industries.
And he goes there, and it's actually Montoya and Batwoman end up teaming up. Because Montoya's at the first bank robbery scene, and then she comes to get Batwoman and says, "Hey, I think Black Mask is here because all of his generals from his mob are all now guarding this CEO, which is very suspicious."
At Headberry.
Yes. Yep. So they try and take him on, and don't succeed, but they don't feel to take him in, but.
Well, yeah, because they don't realize that he is assuming the face of the guy.
They think that Black Mask is making this guy do what he says. It's a blackmail
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
So they get in the car and think, right, okay, look, whatever he's got on you, we'll protect you. And then he just pulls out a gun on them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had no idea this was going to be a Batwoman and Montoya team up issue.
Not a clue, no.
So that was a nice surprise.
That was pretty great.
Yeah.
And then he walks around the corner and pulls off the face.
Yeah,
very Scooby-Doo.
It ends with him becoming someone else, because he goes and knocks on someone else's door, saying he's a delivery guy, but he's got the same face as because this happened earlier on with the CEO, where he opened the door and it was his own face, and he's like, "What the hell?" So. No, I mean, it's a really simple issue. Is it a necessary one-shot? Not in the slightest, but was it enjoyable to read? It is pretty enjoyable to read, because Tom Taylor knows what he's doing. And I think the testament to that is the fact that this was an oversized issue. It was, your bigger $5 book, and I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the length.
Yeah, me either.
No, and it also made me want to read more Black Mask, because that's a character I have a very big blind spot for. I know Brubaker used him in his Catwoman, so I'm gonna track those down.
Yeah, I've not encountered a lot of him. The odd bit here or there. But
like, if we have more I shot Gary moments, then Black Mask can become one of my favorite villains, just because he is so delightfully dark without that Joker. Like, oh, I'm so crazy. Like, no, he's just a sociopath.
Yeah,
he is.
Like, yeah. So,
and I'm down for more of the face changing shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like that's why this exists, to re-establish that this is what Black Mask does, because I haven't seen this in I don't know, ever really. I've never seen him do it like this.
Right, and that's where the Hush thing came from. That Tommy Elliott wants to be Bruce Wayne, and that's why he wears the bandage around his face, right?
Right.
Because he's making himself look. But here you have Black Mask putting on other people's faces.
It's
Mission Impossible style.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the art's a little bit in the middling side, typically.
To agree.
Yeah, usually Hamner's a lot clearer than this. These felt like
really heavy,
almost like they had a sketch quality to them. Yeah.
Do you wonder if because some of the faces felt a bit fat to me and things like that? Did you wonder if having to do the extra 10, like maybe you just got the regular month to do this?
Yeah.
And it was extra pages, so you had to rush through it a
Yeah,
little bit.
It was down to like the very first page. Or maybe it's the second page, actually. The full page with the kid. Actually, I mean, even on the first page, the kid's face just looks a bit.
But his Renee, his Batwoman, those all look great. His Black Mask,
Yeah. I think Black Mask helps a lot in that there are no facial expressions to draw.
No.
Yeah, it's just a skull, so it's easier to keep consistent.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but I don't.
Also, Ewan McGregor's playing Black Mask in the Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah, he is.
So that's another thing to be excited for.
You know who else he's playing though, right, Matt?
Oh, I know who he's playing.
Yeah. He's playing some Kenobi, which
he's playing Ben.
Was officially confirmed at D23 just yesterday.
With the subtitle of a Star Wars story, so that
because it's a limited series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
But yeah, still one of the funniest lines in Star Wars is Obi-Wan Kenobi, like old Ben Kenobi, like It's not even him trying to change it. It's not like he changed his name to Ben whatever. You know, Ben Tatooine. So
Yeah, it's not like it's a super common name, you assume.
no, yeah. So I hope we get a little bit of that in this. But yeah, Ewan's back. He's getting that money.
Yeah, yeah. They came out on stage, and he seemed to be having fun with it.
Yep.
Well,
from everything I've heard,
2021.
he was the one that would stand up to George Lucas when it came time for the acting choices Lucas was forcing on them. And I guess he would just tell George stuff like, yeah, no, let me do this. I'm going to channel, Alec Guinness, who I think Alec Guinness also wasn't respecting George Lucas in that first movie. So
yeah. Yeah. But,
I just want to know who's show running this, because it's got to be someone juicy.
I know all the scripts are written already.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, they're starting filming in sometime next year. They didn't say when, but maybe late next year, early 2021 is when we can probably expect to see it.
I mean, what if this is Rian Johnson's project?
No, he's still doing a trilogy, isn't he?
Is he still doing the trilogy?
Sure, he spoke about it recently.
Damn. So I would want to know. I loved his episodes of Breaking Bad, so I would like to see his short form again.
Yeah.
I can't see Pete right now, but I'm sure he's...
I think he's dead. I think his head exploded.
Scanner style.
He's just upset that we're getting all this stuff.
That was a real natural. I wasn't even going for that. I was just pointing out Black Mask.
No, I know, but I just thought we were going to take the opportunity to annoy Pete.
Are we done? Good.
Sure.
Mal, what are you giving the Black Mask one shot?
I'm going to give this one an 8. Normally the art would knock it down, but I did love... Again, it made me have interest in Black Mask. I want to track down more. And that's rare anymore. So...
Connor?
I'm weirdly lining up with Matt on a lot of books here today because I'm
that's scary.
An 8. I probably would give it an 8.5 if the art had been a little more to my taste.
Yeah, I'll go with an 8 as well. Yeah, we can all agree on that. That Tom Taylor magic just working for us, I guess. But that is an end to the 4 new books that we had this week. Again, just wait until October, guys. We're going to so many new books to talk about. But we do have a couple of Patreon punishment issues. I did not read mine this week. I'll do mine next week.
Because he's a terrible person.
Because I didn't have time before we started. Because, well, I'll just say it. I couldn't get to sleep last night. I was sleeping until right before. So, Connor, you got Red Hood Outlaw 35 to talk about. Scott Lobdell, I assume, still writing the book.
You assume correctly.
Pete Wood's still in art, or are you?
No, it's Pete Woods.
Pete Woods. Okay.
That isn't a problem. Pete Woods is decent. Not my favorite artist. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, good. Better than some of the art this week. I mean, well, probably just better than Hamner, to be honest. In my opinion, the others I probably prefer more. But still, it's not a bad week for art. What happened this issue? We start with a big spiel about how Jason's dad, it was like 10 minutes old, and his dad took him out onto the balcony, was like, hey, look at this, kid. You got your whole life in front of you. Gotham's going to be yours. And I'm like, what is this terrible bullshit? But Jason doesn't want Gotham, apparently. He's just here because it's convenient. God knows. Yeah. Don't ask. But
why does Jason Todd have such a cult following? I don't get it.
It's such a good
It's been
question.
like one guy since he's been back. Like Winnick, I get the Winnick stuff. Not my favorite character, but I get it. Since the New 52, it's been this dude, and I don't understand it. It makes me mad.
If anyone follows the Mild Fuzz Twitter, the regular one, not the comics one, they'll have seen maybe a post or two this week poking at some bigger questions in life. I feel like, why does Jason Todd have a cult following? Fits right alongside those questions.
Do it.
No.
Do you know,
Yeah, no,
my goddamn Twitter feed right now is just
other people tweeting off accounts you thought were safe.
it's just filled with Star Wars crap. Like that's what I was talking about today.
Yeah, buddy.
Are they saying anything interesting?
Nah, not really.
They definitely are. Pete's just.
They're just retweeting the poster and posting clips of Boyega talking.
I mean, can we just? There was, that footage that they showed.
You've got Red Hood to talk about. You stop talking about Star Wars right now, you ginger cretin.
I'm going to talk about something in red. I don't know if you've heard or seen the tweet yet, Matt. But have you heard what was at the end of the footage they showed? For Rise
I did not.
Mild spoilers for any footage they may have showed at D23 for anyone who cares. Yeah, they showed Rey, the red lightsaber, a double-sided one.
Okay, well, I gotta go find this now, guys. So,
Your mic's going,
hurry
Matt.
up, Connor.
Your mic's going, Matt. Just
So Jason gets into his car and he gets driven away, and it's Wingman driving him away. And he's like, "Hey, when we first met, I was trying to kill you. Now you gave me a job. All this time you never even asked my real name. Why'd you even trust me?" And Jason's like, "I don't trust you. I just like to keep things simple. Betray me and I'll kill you." But he goes, "That's fair." And then Susie, stops the car. When they get to the boat, so they're going out to iceberg launch. They get there. Susie stops the car, opens the door, and it's like, "Look, we need to talk. Last issue, you were off in France and the Euroblock got hit, and me and my sisters, we're trying to put that life behind now. If you're dragging us back in, that's just not good enough." And she's grabbing him by the arm, and she's saying, "She's quite a big woman, this." And Jason's like, "Yeah, you might want to rethink what you're doing with that hand, but you're fine. You're not going to be killed. So at least one of them's dying." I'm pretty confident.
yeah.
Yeah, not like I couldn't even tell you. I can only tell you Susie because she was here. And the one thing I will say in Lobdell's credit is every time there's a new character, or not a new character, just new to this issue, it does a little pop up and tells me who they are. This one, Susie Sue, former bad girl turned concierge. It tells me these things. And but Jason gets on the boat. He's like, "Right, I'm going on my own." And it's all this of, my past is out there in the fog. I can feel it. She wants to stop me. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And then we get more of this old cast shite that we got some of last issue with the Soul Blade, if you recall.
I try not to.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But it was all this bollocks that he was the only human ever to have been trained by the old cast for reasons. But this girl shows up who's one of them. These are like immortal beings by the sounds of it, and she is the daughter of like the queen of the old cast, and she's the one that was destined for the throne. Obviously, they had a thing, and it's whether or not, are you going to kill me or kiss me, all that. And they have a bit of a fight. He pulls out his sword. She's got her special swords. What are those? Because he had the All Blade, I think it was called, and she has like the Blood Blade. Anyway, she stabs him with it, and she's like, "Right, I've won. This is all solved." And then he's like, "Nah, not so quick." And she starts vanishing, getting sucked into the sword. Apparently, the Blood Blade had its own restrictions where, and this is where I have to question the specific wording. It came with a sacred trust to never draw the blood of the innocent, or she would be trapped within forever. And he says, "Oh, you made the same mistake everyone else does with me. I'm not evil or good. I'm just practical." Now, I'm not disputing that fact, but it didn't say there that she could never draw the blood of someone good. It said she couldn't draw the blood of someone innocent. And if you're trying to tell me Jason bloody Todd is innocent, then I have a hard time swallowing it, frankly. That seems implausible to me. But he goes to his room. He goes to lock up the sword away, nice and safe in his vault. and then Penguin's there and pulls a gun on him because obviously he got out at the end of the last issue. I remember all the stuff with Bunker. I assume he got out. Okay.
I like how Connor's audio quality was deteriorating as that went on. It was almost like the internet was. The internet was like, no, you don't want to hear any of this. This Red Hood talk.
Sorry, I don't know what's causing that. Is it still bad?
Nah, it's better.
It's good now.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm finished with Red Hood.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a 3.
It was very gradual. It was a very gradual deterioration. But I was noticing it towards the end. I was like, you sound a bit rough. But hey ho. You got another book to talk about though. You got Generation X issue 5.
I don't know what issue it is. It was just the next one in the book.
Okay. Scott Lobdell again.
Yeah.
With Chris Bachelo or not?
Yeah.
I don't know. Off you go.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of how much detest do I put into my voice. I really don't like Lobdell, guys.
Yeah,
It's
What?
not good.
I did. What? This is out of nowhere. Where did this come from?
No, this issue it starts with Emma Frost. She was kidnapped, probably last issue, or they were chasing. They knew she was kidnapped last issue, I think.
Let's see.
So they were hunting after her. You know, the main group of kids were, but Hemingway and another villain whose name it doesn't say took her. They've got her tied up, but they've got another like a mutant kid called Leech there who just drains all their powers, as the name might suggest. So she hasn't got her powers. So so they've got her like tied up in all these kind of ribbons, more than ropes, is what I would say. And then so she's stuck there, and our team, we cut to them. Sync's like, hey, I'm going to try something new I've never done before, and he just kind of locks in on the villains and is like, hey, I know where they are. His aura flares up and then like lights a path to them. So they run off trying to follow it. This is I should point out after Emma Frost, we cut to the kids and we get our first establishing panel. It's just a meanwhile, not too bad. I'll give it that one, and then we cut to the mansion, Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, Massachusetts, home and private academy of the next generation of mutants, teenagers with genetic quirks, making their way in a world too busy hating them to understand them. I'm like, Jesus, 5 panels to tell me we're at Xavier's school. It just didn't need that much. But Husk is very drunk. I think last issue she was getting drunk. Or was like, hey, do whatever you want. You do whatever vices you've got. But she is very drunk. She's throwing up in the bath, I think, by the look of it. And Jonathan comes and helps her to a room, which is a tip. And he's surprised that it's a tip because apparently she's quite organized. And then she hits on him. She's like, maybe I found something more interesting than studying. And he's like, you're drunk. And she just goes, am I? I was like, you were just throwing up in the bath, love. Yes, you are.
That's what a drunk person would say.
Yeah. Pretty low bar here of whether or not you're drunk. If you're throwing up, yes, you probably are. But this is where we cut back to Emma, and it's several flights underground, Midtown. We've got the kids in the vents, but their powers they're losing them now because they've got too close to Leech. They're like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And then Emma just kicks. She spins in the ribbons and kicks Leech and knocks him out, which turns off his power, and she can use hers. And
you're telling me that Emma Frost just spin kicked a child
while she's tied up in ribbons? Yeah, it's glorious. And this child is green, by the way. He looks kind of like a little frog.
This is already in Leech. They're of the 90s.
Yeah. But I just want to make if anyone who didn't know, for the image, she is kicking this small green child.
Yeah, Artie speaks in pictures, and Leech doesn't talk, I don't think. But yeah.
He does a little bit here, but he talks in third person. Leech's
Okay.
soul.
There you go. Oof.
Yeah. So she kicks him, knocks him out, blasts out all the villains there that have got her, because they are the Gene Nation, I think is what they were called.
Yeah.
They're some evil cult now that are presumably going to be a problem in the near future of the 90s. But yeah, so the kids all then drop out of the room. Guess you solved that. And she's very sarcastic, going, "Oh, bravo! You managed to track me. Gold stars for the whole class." And then one of them suggests, maybe we should just kill all of them. These here, because I mean, the authorities could handle things, but maybe we should get some payback for what they did to whoever, some people at a disco that happened in an Uncanny X-Men issue I didn't read. And he's like, well, it's not like any of us could stop you if you happen to fry their brains. She's like, oh, you don't want to go there. Not what we need. But it's after this that there's another villain watching over them sets off an explosive, and they have to be saved by M. She swoops in and grabs some falling rubble and saves Jubilee. But now we're later. They're outside. They're fine. I think they're bringing Leech with them. And then a page later, after later, we got later still at the place where the legend of the X-Men began, the Xavier Institute in nearby Westchester County. I'm like, every time we cut here, it needs like 3 to 5 panels. Like, I don't understand why. But Xavier's here and Emma's going, hey, you should probably be a bit more concerned about this Gene Nation. They're pretty evil, and if I was anyone other than me, I'd be pretty scared of them. So you should do something. And then, but Jubilee, they're back at the school. She goes off into the woods to visit Logan, who I'm not sure if he's actually huge or if it's just a weird thing in the art here. He's definitely he's lost his adamantium and he's gone a bit feral.
Mm-hmm.
As you do.
That happened when Magneto pulled it out.
Sure.
His mutation started, so it was like the adamantium's keeping his feralness, and
okay.
He started wearing a bandana mask. It was weird.
He's talking perfectly coherently. He seems fine. I genuinely don't know, because he looks borderline Hulk-esque, hulked out, like all big raging muscles, huge hands, and Jubilee is like tiny in comparison. He's not necessarily that much taller, just wider and bulked out. And I don't know if he's actually been physically affected, or if it's just the way he's drawn here. I'm
pretty sure it's the Chris Bachelo version.
That stands to reason. He's kind of huge. But he's just talking about how, I half hoped you wouldn't see me like this, but the other half hoped you'd come now when you needed me most, when I needed you most, and I'm really proud of you going to school and learning about your powers, and promise me you'll stay in school and then nothing like this will ever happen to you. And and then that's almost in the issue. Last page, back to Xavier's, which this time mercifully it just says Xavier's.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sean walking out with Penance, and he sees Gateway, and Gateway's covering his eyes and ears, and he's like, oh, why are you covering your ears? And then immediately later there's an explosion in the girls' dorm, and he's like, oh god damn it, Jonathan, what have you done? That's the end of the issue.
Okay.
Wow.
Art was rough. I appreciated that it didn't cut around more than it has done in the past. It felt relatively cohesive. Still some rubbish dialogue, but I mean, to be expected, because Lobdell, and terrible establishing panels for Xavier's mansion in particular. Other places aren't as bad for some reason. It's just Xavier's that has to have a fancy description every time for some reason. But the problem is, after the first, like the very first box is like got a capitalized letter, like in a different color to make it clear that it's a new scene. But the other boxes underneath don't have anything that lets you know that it's not just a run-on sentence. So you kind of have to read. You can't just go, oh, he's still just doing Xavier's thing. You have to read every one until you realize, oh, this one's still not another thing. And then all of a sudden you'll just be, oh, the next one is just the next actual narration box. And I do need to read this one. So you can't skip it. It's really frustrating. So I'll give it a 3.5.
Wasn't the last one a 3.5 as well?
I don't know. Do you think I remember what I gave the last issue?
No, not the last issue. Like Red Hood. Did you just give that 3.5?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'll tell you word for it.
Sounds about right. Oh dear.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't actually know what I gave Red Hood anymore. I've forgotten already, but 3.5 sounds plausible.
All right, well that wraps up the books. Takes us to the section of the show where we pick our favorite things of the week, favorite panel / moment, favorite cover, favorite art, and top 5 books, or in this case, ranking the 4 books that we read. So, Matt, what is your favorite panel / moment?
It's gonna be from Jimmy Olsen. It's when let's see, there's a bunch of them I could go with. It's probably gonna be the page where we see all the crazy adventures he's been on, and then that ends with him and Lois and Clark being embedded.
That's like 2 pages, but sure.
Well, I'll put the page at where he's embedded, where it ends on that. That's a really good one.
All right, Car.
Also from Jimmy Olsen, I'm gonna go with the actual title page, the double spread of him and Superman sat on the roof staring out over the sea. It's a gorgeous image.
Yeah, I don't have as obvious I want to go for, bizarrely. There's a couple of things in Batman that could take the cake.
Not the big giant monster in Aquaman.
But that's probably what I'm leaning to. Is Aquaman. It's not. My only hesitation is that it's not as good as the flashback of the monster in the last issue.
I'm assuming it's a different monster. To be fair,
it may be a different monster, but like that was like such a great page. Whereas here, the monster's cool. I'm excited about it, but
I will say my other choice would have been from Aquaman. Would have been the sunsets.
You know what? Yeah, that's a good one. The sunset, sunrise, rather, not sunset.
The sunrise. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Actually, I'll go with the because I like how quiet that page is. It's just the contemplation and the sequential rising.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. All right. So, best cover of the week, Matt.
Ooh, let me look at these. Oh, it's the Jimmy Olsen variant.
Jimmy Olsen variant.
Yeah, he's on the scooter. We talked about it last week.
Oh yeah, no, that is real nice.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
So.
Yeah.
Is that your pick?
I'm looking. No, I'm going with the Middleton Aquaman variant.
Yeah. Figured you would.
Yeah. They're really trying to make him look like Momoa in those periods. They really are.
Yeah, I'm okay with that in variants.
I actually think I might go with the Black Mask cover.
Oh, it's a Garrett's cover, isn't it?
It's a Garrett's cover, yeah. It's just the skull basically with some
it's a good one too.
Background behind it. So, no, I'll go with the Black Mask. I like that one. All right, so best art of the week then, Matt.
Steve Lieber, Jimmy Olsen.
Connor?
Seconded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go with that as well. Actually, I'll go with Olsen for art. It's the best of the week for sure. It's also the most consistent of the week for sure as well.
Yeah.
So ranking books, Matt, go for it.
Jimmy Olsen, Black Mask, Aquaman, Batman.
There you go.
Easy.
Connor.
Same order.
Aquaman's number 1 for me. Black Mask is number 2. Batman's number 3. Jimmy Olsen's number 4.
Yep.
The disgusting
I'm
Connor's face makes
genuinely
it all worth it.
struggling to fathom having Jimmy Olsen below Batman.
Well, hey, it goes in my
My
ratings.
brain physically cannot wrap my head around that.
My ratings, set up for that. I rated Batman higher, so I'm consistent.
You're terrible.
If nothing else, you can't say I'm not consistent. So, what's coming out next week, though? This is what's important next.
Yeah.
So, finally, not an anemic week, although it is worth mentioning, actually, just because I'm reminded here. Matt will be missing next week's episode due to some personal commitments, but he'll be back the week after. So, you got me and Connor next week, which I know is very depressing.
Hey, I have strong opinions on some books next week, probably.
Yeah, I've got both Superman and Action to do on my own though. Matt's not here for those.
And your punishment issue. Because you should have done it this week.
Yeah. It's coming. So coming next week, we got Action Comics 1014. We got Batgirl 38. We got Batman Beyond 35, which we won't be covering, of course. Batman Curse of the White Knight issue 2.
Yeah, Pete's actually going to have to talk about that one this time.
Hey,
Matt's not going to be here to go off on one.
I only didn't last time because you two just went with it. You just went with it. I just let you go.
Matt really ran with it.
I really love that book.
Yeah, we got Batman Superman issue 1, so we got a big issue 1 next week. So if you want to send in thoughts, Matt, for next week, I think that's the priority. Send in Batman Superman thoughts.
That's what I led with, but I called it Superman Batman. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Detective Comics 1010 is out, although we've dropped that, but worth mentioning, it's coming out. Dial H for Hero issue 6 is out. The Flash number 77. Freedom Fighters issue 8, although we did drop that as well. Oh, Matt, you still reading that, Matt?
No, I still read it. I just don't review it.
You won't be here though, so it's irrelevant.
No.
We got Justice League Dark issue 14, as well as Justice League 30. I know I did those out of order. Just my eye went where it went first. Martian Manhunter issue 8 is out next week. As is Red Hood Outlaw 37. Connor will get to that in a few months' time.
We'll see.
Although he's got an annual coming up soon, which we've been hearing bad things about from David, who makes him read these things. The Terrifics number 19 is out next week. And we got Wonder Woman issue 77. So enjoy that G. Wilson run while we can.
Four issues left.
Is that all it is?
Yep, 81 about.
I'm going to mention there is the Mariko Tamaki Harley Quinn Inc. book is out next week.
Yes, the graphic novel.
Yeah.
No, it's worth mentioning.
Breaking Glass.
So, more of a healthier week next week. So we've got some decent books to talk about. Or a decent amount of books, I should say. I'm not saying there wasn't decent books this week. I'm saying...
Yeah, and I don't think you mentioned Superman there, like when you were going through your list, because it's not actually on Diamond because of a weird thing where it already shipped, technically.
Yeah, so it's not on the list here, which is why I didn't think to mention it. But yeah, Superman is out next week, from everything we know about. So, so that is what's coming next week for the final Wednesday of August. So we'll see how that ships up. But that is us. That is issue 169. As far as I'm aware, unless I'm forgetting something. I don't think I'm forgetting something. I feel like there's more of a hubbub at the end. I feel like this has ended in a really weird down note. Where
I feel like you're usually kind of saying, this is their picks, and you haven't done that. So that's what you feel like you're missing.
Piss it off. So that's before I tell you what's coming next week. That's not what I'm missing here.
I know, but I didn't give you shit about it 2 minutes ago. Give me shit about it now.
That has been 169 of Comics from the Multiverse, our DC Comics show here from Melfuzz TV. You can, of course, support us and help us out in a number of different ways. And I meant to do some of these plugs in the middle because I want to do that in some of the longer shows, and I forgot to do it this week. But it's coming. The Patreon plug is going to start coming in the middle of the show, halfway through the books. You're threatening
them with adverts in the middle now. And
it's not an ad. It's not an ad. It's because I know some people turn off before the last little bit because they're it's just the plugs now. I can leave. No.
I mean, I've tuned out, so I can't imagine them.
Yeah.
Matt, tell them about patreon.com/MailFuzzTV.
Yeah, go there and make Connor read bad books. Also go there and make Pete read bad books.
Or watch bad movies.
Yes.
Or watch bad movies. Streams after midnight. Follow them on Twitter. Tim kills it.
Yeah, I mean, I love how he's saying go follow us at Screams Midnight on Twitter before he says at DC Comics Podcast, which is this show's Twitter. But
that's the problem. If they're watching, they're following.
In Matt's defense,
that's
I had also assumed Peter just already said that because I wasn't listening to him.
Okay, sure.
No, don't give me the spotlight.
Yes, you can of course.
Like Garth in Wayne's World. Hey, what's over there?
That was a good sound effect, Matt. You can, of course, support us for as little as $1 per month. And for that $1, you get a bunch of things. You get some early access to some stuff. You get some bonus episodes of some of the movie podcasts we do, like Screams After Midnight, like the Ace, the sci-fi movie podcast. Most relevant to this show, though, you get access to Comics from the Multiverse Extra, which is me and Connor in an audio-only show, sort of working through single issues one at a time. The idea is it's meant to be weekly. We don't necessarily always hit that, though, so I'm keeping it flexible for the sake of promises not being.
Well, I hope once we get into a rhythm, we get a
Yeah.
because like once we get into a rhythm with Star Trek, for example, that was pretty consistent weekly for a long time.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
once
true.
we get into that rhythm, this will be knocked out.
That's true. So you can check out the $1 tier, and then of course there's higher tiers. We get to sponsor things, you get your name at the end of the videos, and all sorts of things. So go and have a look at Patreon. You can of course support us in another way, which is to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app. Namely, Apple Podcasts is the most common one. If you give us a 5-star rating and a nice little review, it helps more people find us and recommends us out to more people in search results and things like that. So go do that. Otherwise, follow us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. And as always, you can keep sending questions and thoughts and other things to mftvquestions@gmail.com, especially if they're too long for a tweet. But obviously Twitter works as well. It is easy enough. So go and do all those things. Do a variety of those things and keep reading comics, DC Comics especially.
Yeah. But if you want to read Thor, read Thor.
And then read King Thor.
Read Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America. Read Immortal Hulk.
These books are very good. I will.
They are real good books.
I'll admit to this.
Read Ed Brubaker's Criminal.
Do you know I
That's
bought
really good too.
Is Criminal the one that's split into seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, season 1 was on sale in a DC sale not so long ago.
Oh wait, no, wait, no. That's Criminal's not.
I think it's Sleeper.
You're thinking Sleeper.
Yeah, I grabbed
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, I grabbed
When
the
you were
first one.
saying, when you were saying seasons, I thought you meant like they're out of order. Like you can read Criminal
they're literally
in any
called,
way.
like season 1.
Yeah, that's Sleeper.
Do you know what's funny is that there was a point a little while ago when I was worried that the books were starting to be too little per week, right? They're just generally because of the state of DC Comics and what we've dropped and whatnot. That I thought, maybe eventually, we will just have like a Marvel section where we talk about the 3 or 4 Marvel books we want to talk about. Of course, DC completely changed any thoughts of that by announcing 50
everything
new issue ones
Yeah.
over the course of 2 months. But it's always a backup plan because there's always at least a few good Marvel books to talk about.
Yeah.
As much
But
as this audience might all hate it though, admittedly, because you're like, oh, filthy Marvel, this is a DC show.
No, there's
Maybe
good
we're
stuff
safer.
going on over there right now.
We can talk about some creator-owned books if that's safer.
It's not the opposing team. This is like the console where it's okay to talk about PC games as long as it's not can't talk about Xbox.
It's like Nintendo when you've got Sony and Xbox. Nintendo, sure, do your own thing.
Yeah, while I'm primarily a DC guy and all my favorite characters tend to come from DC, I will follow certain creators.
I love the idea that Black Hammer's the Super Mario of the comic book world now. It's by that logic.
Yeah. The final issue of Wiccan Divine should be in about 2 weeks, and it's just it's an epilogue issue. So the last issue was the last issue of the main story, and holy crap, that run is something special.
Oh yeah, I also read real quick. Connor found the issue for me last week, but I read the Tom Taylor Rose and Thorn book.
Oh, how was
this week. It's pretty good. It's definitely like, oh man, I wish he got more of these because it's just a first issue, and it's not really standalone.
Oh really? It's like a launching pad.
Yep, but Rose and Thorn definitely is a character I can get behind. There's a lot of fun there. So looking forward to seeing more of her in action. Do it, Bendis.
Yeah.
So, anyways, cool. Patreon, we did that.
Yeah, we did all those things. This is why you wait till after the plugs. You may get a little bit of bonus conversation that's just kind of random at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does happen.
It does happen from time to time. And I'll probably going to regret that I even ever had that idea to talk about other books then, because there will be some people who ask for it now. To be honest, a week like this, but there was only so few books, maybe it was a good idea. But we find a way to ramble ourselves to a decent runtime anyway. So here we are.
Sorry, I just found a picture. It's a painting of Smokey the Bear pointing to this beautiful wilderness, but instead of like protect the forest, he's pointing to a family. He says, "Watch me eat this family," and I lost my shit. I'm saving that. I'm gonna reshare that on Twitter.
that has been Comics from the Multiverse, episode 169, people. Thank you very much for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. So make sure you keep reading DC Comics, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
Oh, so that Connor guy is the worst.